Kepa once again is in goal. The three of Chalobah, Thiago Silva and Cucurella. Pulisic and Sterling were expecting to be wing-backs with Kovacic, Loftus-Cheek and Gallagher, Havertz and Mount. Although, as you know too well, Pat Nevin, with Graham Potter, it could be anything at the starting lineup, and then it could be anything when he changes it 2 or 3 times, as he so often does during a game.
I suspect he will go 3 at the back, Diamond 3 up front. The 3 up front being Sterling one side, Pulisic the other side. They did that in a period of time against Salzburg the other day. Seemed to work. It's an unusual system, and it's very hard to play against and to sort out against.
We're underway. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live, and there's certainly no doubt who is going to get the loudest boo throughout the whole day. It is Marc Cucurella. That the Brighton fans have made it quite clear for the bushy-haired defender, as Chelsea are wearing their new 3rd strip. It only landed, I'm told, in the start of the month. Of course, historically, they have often had yellow in their colours. To the untrained eye, I would say it's like a light gold, as Sterling is into the penalty area on the left-hand side. But the official colour is sesame yellow.
Doesn't look like yellow to me, it looks like gold. Not one that I've seen before, it has to be said. It doesn't look like a Chelsea strip, but you know, the fans have got Christmas coming up, and you never know, they may be tempted. Yeah. I think that might be something got to do with it. I
think so too. Not many clubs or associations tend to miss an opportunity to get the new stock out in the public domain. So in sesame yellow, and then the yellow shirts and shorts and black socks, Chelsea are playing from right to left as we look against Brighton and Hove Albion in their traditional colours, the white and royal blue striped shirts and white shorts, and therefore they are playing from left to right. The results earlier on: Leicester City 0, Manchester City 1, and in the Championship, Bristol City 1, Swansea 1, West Bromwich Albion 0, Sheffield United 2, and a latest score in League 2 at half-time: Northampton 0, Newport County 1. But we've got the reporters out at the various grounds. We'll keep you in touch with the goals as they go in, and also have the racing at Wetherby to look forward to, as here is Havertz picking up the ball for Chelsea. That was blocked by Caicedo, and then up towards Trossard. Trossard, who scored all 4 goals under the reign of De Zerbi. To Matoma, Japanese international, looks for the run on that far side of Estupiñán, and then he turns away in frustration, does Roberto De Zerbi, who, whilst Graham Potter has made a very impressive start since he left the Amex, Brighton fans need no reminding, and certainly the 43-year-old Italian doesn't, but he's yet to win.
Yeah, and he's definitely desperate to get one just now, and the fans would love it to be this one, probably as much, if not more, than any other one. They started lively. Chelsea's system, just out of those that are interested, is adapting all the time. But wait a minute.
Poor clearance from Kepa, falls to Trossard. What a goal line clearance that was from Thiago Silva. It was a dreadful clearance. It's headed forward, and then Trossard instinctively hooks it goalwards. And Thiago Silva, at 38 years of age, was more like an 18-year-old. The way that he quickly got back onto his goal line, the anticipation to somehow head the ball over the crossbar. What a brilliant bit of defending.
Yeah, brilliant defending. Never thought he was going to get there. By the way, it was his mistake that caused it, so, you know, he's more relieved than anyone else.
Ball comes in from the corner kick. Brighton is going to drop out towards that far side, and then another goal line clearance, and again from Thiago Silva. It really was fired in from Estupiñán, left-footed, and Thiago Silva with another goal line clearance with his head. Once more, quickly getting back onto the goal line. Right place, right time.
Do you know what? I thought that first clearance with his head was unbeatable. He's only beaten it about a minute later. Kepa's hardly touched the ball yet, but 2 brilliant saves in this game already for Thiago Silva. But that'll lift Brighton. They've started really lively, and 2 good chances already.
2 excellent opportunities. They have kept and had a lot of possession during the games that they've played so far. Since his appointment under De Zerbi, Brighton have actually had the highest amount of possession in the Premier League, just under 60%. But they just haven't scored goals. 1 goal in their last 4 in the Premier League. They actually have had 20 shots on target during that time. Here's Mitoma coming forward now. Mitoma towards Trossard. Great footwork by Trossard! And the finish wasn't too bad either. Left-footed, Roberto De Zerbi runs onto the pitch to celebrate because Brighton have made an excellent start. And Trossard has scored all 5 goals now for the Italian. But that was brilliant from the Belgian. Absolutely brilliant. Great footwork, took it away from the keeper, and inside 5 minutes, Brighton lead Chelsea 1-0.
Well, inside 5 minutes to lead 1-0, but it could have been 3-0 up by now. Once again, it's Thiago Silva that gives the ball away. He's been all over this game, positively and negatively, but Trossard, he had to keep calm there when that beautiful little threaded ball was played through to him by Mitoma. He kept his eyes absolutely on the ball, knew there was players around, but still threaded the ball through. Trossard, no panic, and just calmly passed it through the defenders in the line. And you've got to say, Brighton deserve this. Even this early in the game, Brighton deserve to be ahead.
They've come flying out of the traps. De Zerbi's celebration, he seemed to run in front of the Chelsea side of the pitch. It certainly was away towards our right hand side, encroachment on the pitch. He's had a word with the referee Andy Madley, but the excitement was there for all to see, and Brighton have made a whirlwind start.
Do you know what, there's a technical reason for what's actually happening just now. Chelsea have only got a back 3 there, and they haven't got any full backs, as it were. The 2 wing backs. So when they get the ball at the back, they've actually not got enough options wide of them. Twice they've tried to play at the back, and twice they've been closed down. That system they're playing just now has not started well for Chelsea.
Now this is an interesting statistic. Brighton unbeaten in 18 games in the Premier League when scoring first since they played Wolves May 2021, and they have taken the lead, and it is the first time in Premier League history that they have led against Chelsea. They haven't taken the lead for a single minute in any of their previous 10 games in the Premier League against Chelsea, as Chelsea yet to really see them forward, get a quick corner kick. There's been a try in the Rugby League. Katie Smith.
I've got 3 to tell you about. Less than 6 minutes on the clock. England 26, Greece 4. Dom Young scoring again. Ryan Hall on the other wing, and then Tom Burgess tussling his way through the centre. England 26, Greece 4.
Commentary of that continues on Sports Extra. Thanks, Katie. Brighton then lead Chelsea by a goal to 0. How will Chelsea respond? Sterling on this near side to place the ball down. It's going to be a corner kick. Brighton have got everybody back. It's Sterling right-footed in towards the near post. Downward header, cleared away by Estupiñán. Play back out towards Sterling. Mitoma back there helping out. They certainly are buoyed by the atmosphere.
The energy level for Brighton players has been fantastic since the start of the game. I mean, if you've got players like Mount and Gallagher on the opposition side, you may be worried about that beforehand, but they have showed that they have been the livelier team by some distance right at the start of this game.
Cucurella getting grief from the Brighton supporters. There's a goal at Deepdale in the Championship. Shojo Saka.
Yes, Preston 0, Middlesbrough 1. It's Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough who are up and running. It was a corner, first corner of the game for Borough, right across the 6-yard area. Chuba Akpom with a header from 2 yards out. Preston 0, Middlesbrough 1.
Derby 1, Bristol Rovers 0. Bristol Rovers have been going well under Joey Barton. 8 unbeaten. Tranmere 0, Carlisle 1. Colchester leads Stevenage by a goal to 0 in League 2, and it's Hartlepool 0, Grimsby 1, Mansfield 1, Swindon 1. In fact, now is the latest at Field Mill. The goals as they go in. Brighton give the ball away. Pulisic, well, quickly off his goal line with Sanchez. What about along the south coast? Bournemouth, Tottenham, Jonathan O'Brien.
Well, it's 0-0 here, but it's been a sizzling start from the south coast sides because Bournemouth have been strong. Kiefer Moore with a header just over, and Marcus Tavernier forcing a low save from Lloris. Bournemouth 0, Tottenham 0.
Brentford Wolves, John Southall.
Brentford 0, Wolves 0. Early chance here for Wolves. Daniel Podence left of the area, left foot, poor finish, caught in 2 minds, straight at Raya. Brentford 0, Wolves 0.
Let's get a racing update. John Hunts at Wetherby.
A tremendously impressive victory just a few moments ago in the West Yorkshire Hurdle for Proskima, who has come home 10 lengths clear for Dan Skelton and Harry Skelton, their second winners of the day. Favourite Sporting John, a laboured effort, back in 4th place.
Thank you, John. We'll be back with you for the Charlie Hall chase that'll be underway at the West Yorkshire track at 3:35. You're listening to 5 Live. We welcome listeners to the BBC World Service wherever you are in the world. As always, it's a pleasure to have your company on what feels like a spring afternoon down on the south coast. The sun is shining, albeit it's autumnal sunshine, a weak autumnal sunshine, but extremely mild.
It's a lovely day for a game of football. It's as simple as that. And right at this moment of time in Brighton, they've just got such a confidence about themselves. They're playing the ball out from the back much better than Chelsea have been able to do so far. Chelsea coming out from the back, nobody on the wide wings, and they are caught out time and time again. It's led to one goal and one other clearance off the line by Thiago Silva.
Well, we just heard from John Hunt at Wetherby. We'll go back to West Yorkshire now, because Nick Hatton's watching Huddersfield-Millwall.
Huddersfield 1, Millwall 0. Yuta Nakayama with the goal, more by luck than judgment, crossing from the left-hand side over the head of George Logan into the back of the net. Nakayama celebrating like he didn't mean it. Huddersfield 1, Millwall 0.
A yellow card has just been shown to Kovacic.
I don't think he can complain about that.
Catching March.
He actually gets the ball, but he's come with such power in there that he actually knows he's going to take March. March unfortunately didn't get worse injured than that. He's got himself back up, but I think the reason for that is Kovacic got hit quite hard himself about 3 or 4 minutes ago, and the referee didn't spot it, so you're not allowed to take retribution.
We are extremely low down here at the Amex. We are just a stone's throw away, if that, an underarm throw away from the tunnel and the dugout. So therefore, you can really see how pumped up Roberto De Zerbi is for every decision. He really is feeling it at the minute. For a Brighton and Hove Albion side that are leading Chelsea by a goal to nil, and Brighton playing in their white and blue striped shirts, have a free kick. Gross takes it, rather flat ball in, headed away by Kovacic. Comes out to Caicedo. He goes square. Estupiñán, left-footed ball in, and Kepa probably got too much underneath that, but managed to claw the ball away. Pulisic kept it in play. March now delivers a low cross from the right-hand side, and Brighton head it back out towards McAllister. Now to Gross, kept in play by a sliding Solly March, and they get a corner kick. We'll go to Newcastle. Juliet Farrington.
0-0 here, but 2 chances for Newcastle. Callum Wilson early on, heading over from Trippier's cross, and Longstaff, if that had gone in, went for goal just inside the halfway line. That would have given all the wows. It didn't. It's Newcastle 0, Aston Villa 0.
Thanks, Jules. 5 Live Sport. Brighton 1-0 up already. Corner kick, Solly March to take it near side the right. It'll be left-footed. They're playing from left to right as we look. In it goes, headed out at the near post by Havertz. Comes out to Caicedo, McAllister.
I've got a question here. You know, Manchester United played Chelsea last week, and it was the wrong system, and he had to change it, and he had to change the personnel after 30 minutes, Graham Potter. Has he done it again? Because this system at the moment absolutely is not working for Chelsea, but as for Brighton.
Estupiñán to Trossard, takes it on, cuts the ball back, and they get another corner kick. Brighton at the minute look threatening every time they're coming forward. Derby 2, Bristol Rovers 0. We'll go to the Rugby League after this corner kick for Brighton. Trossard revelling in that advance role.
Do you know what? Graham Potter left it 35 minutes before he changed it last week. That may be too long this time.
Corner taken short, in it comes. Headed out by Thiago Silva, and Dunk is quite happy. Lewis Dunk, as a boyhood Chelsea supporter, Brighton born of course, lets the ball run out of play for another corner kick. On this time the right hand side, which March is going to take, but these 15 minutes certainly have been bossed by Brighton. March once again placing it down. This looks like it's now going to be an in-swinging corner kick from the right. Right arm goes aloft, but it's going to be a left-footed corner kick. In it comes now. Plenty of curl on it too. Back off the crossbar and in. Solly March is the player that they run to. Brighton have increased their lead. Think it might have gone in off Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Brighton fans don't care. Roberto De Zerbi doesn't care. Brighton lead Chelsea 2-0, and Graham Potter has got work to do on his return in the Amex.
Well, I asked the question before they took the corner, Ian. Is he going to leave it too late to make the change? because Chelsea have been so badly beaten here at the start of this game. Now, I do think they'll check it. They check every single goal. The ball was played in, but it looks like a pretty clean own goal there to me. It doesn't seem as if there's any great effect by anyone else. There's nudges in there now and again, but you're no way you're going to chop that goal off. No, knee there from Loftus-Cheek, off the crossbar, and Graham Potter, if he doesn't make a change soon, this game will be gone from his team. But I'll tell you what, Brighton, they have been absolutely on fire today.
Brighton and Hove Albion 2, Chelsea 0. Chelsea now with Mount, shoots. Sanchez eventually gathers it in at the second attempt. Let's get more of an update from that Rugby League World Cup match, England-Greece. Katie Smith.
Yeah, we just hit half-time. England 44, Greece 4, and 4 tries for Dom Young. He's equalled the England men's record in a match. Still a half to play. Skipper George Williams as well, putting one under the post. 8 tries on the board for the hosts in this first half. England 44, Greece 4.
I appeared on Drive yesterday on 5 Live, and I just said it would be Sod's Law, Murphy's Law, call it what you will, for Graham Potter to suffer a first defeat here at the Amex, because sometimes that's the way that football works.
It's very frequently the way football works, but you know, he seems, you look at down at the bench, and Zerbi, he's on his laptop, he's talking to his coaches, he's looking what he can change, what he can adapt, what he can do to make this 2-0, 3-0. Whereas Graham Potter's sitting back as if to say, what should I do at the moment? He's not really adapted anything. His team have been out wrong. And yes, you probably hear in the background what they're singing there. I think the Brighton fans are enjoying this game so far.
The chant is from the Brighton supporters, you're getting sacked in the morning. Oh, the humour, I was going to say from the terraces, now from the stands. But Brighton are 2-0 up. Crystal Palace, Southampton, Lee Blakeman.
Palace 0, Southampton 0. The home team really should be ahead though. They've started the better of the two. Zaha into the area left side, shot across the face of goal. All it needed was a touch, didn't get one. Palace on top, but it's still 0-0.
Certainly Graham Potter, for the first time since he left to go to Chelsea, could be nil point. I appeared on Patrick Kilty this morning. Every Saturday morning he does a feature called Beat the Commentator. Stat girl Annabelle said that when ABBA won the Eurovision Song Contest here in Brighton in 1974, did Great Britain award them 3 points or nil point? I went with 3, but it was nil point.
Definitely was nil.
Waterloo was the song, of course, wasn't it? Here is Sterling. Sterling to Gallagher. Gallagher, good save by Sanchez. Comes back out, and it's put wide by Pulisic. Chelsea's best chance to try and get on the score sheet, and it went wide.
Wildly open game, this one. Much better from Chelsea in that occasion. Both players should have scored there. They were completely open goals. The ball comes to Gallagher. Okay, the keeper makes a save, but it comes out to Pulisic, and from 6 yards out, even though it's bounced on the volley, you've got to get it on target. 2 incredible chances for Chelsea, both missed.
Sanchez would have been struggling. All in orange away towards our left-hand side. He was almost side on in that mid-position, getting back to his feet when Pulisic put it wide. But Chelsea should have reduced the arrears there, as Pat Nevin quite rightly says. They had 2 opportunities to do so, as Brighton lead 2-0. I was going to say goal at Hull, but we'll just break off because March is marauding his way forward on the right-hand side for Brighton. Cucurella backpedals into the penalty area. March stumbles, then gets Mull back upright. McAllister back towards Trossard, shoots straight at the goalkeeper. Kepa makes a save around head height at the second attempt. Mas Faruqi watching Hull Blackburn. There's been a goal.
There has for Blackburn. Sam Smodics with the shot 6 yards out, which wasn't picked up by the keeper, wasn't hit particularly hard, but through to the back of the net. Hull 0, Blackburn 1.
And there's also been a goal in our featured game involving the leaders Leyton Orient against 5th place Salford. Hamish Marshall.
The leaders are in front with their first real chance of the match. Paul Smith, his 7th goal of the season. He beat a couple of defenders and then scored from a tight angle. Leyton Orient 1, Salford 0.
Sterling attacking, enters the penalty area left-hand side. Such an open game. Colchester 1, Stevenage 1. Stevenage have levelled. Peterborough lead Cambridge by a goal to 0. Barnsley 1-0 up against Forest Green. Pat.
It's an early call, but Betty, this is the first game of match of the day tonight. It's got that kind of feel about it, hasn't it? It's so open, there's so many chances. We've got all sorts of stories around the place, and once again, Chelsea are having a little bit of a better period in this game now, but they need to get a goal. You've got to feel that Chelsea have to get to within a goal by half-time.
I might raise your early call and say it won't stay Brighton 2, Chelsea 0.
It doesn't look anything like that at all. And, you know, both managers are playing a very, very open way. But in the fact that Chelsea have to go, you know, all guns blazing, they have to go and attack everything. They can't sit back in any way whatsoever. This game is going to create chances. I did say it in the build-up, we're going to get chances.
Sterling with the cross. What a save from Sanchez. Gallagher stooping, heads it, and Sanchez diving away towards his left-hand side, one-handed save, turns it around superbly for a corner kick. Newcastle, Juliet Berrington.
The concern here for the Aston Villa goalkeeper Martinez. He's collided with Tyrone Mings. He went down to save from Joe Linton, and on the rebound collided with Mings. He's still receiving treatment in his 6-yard area. I can see Robin Olsen warming up. Villa may be forced into making a change here. It's Newcastle 0, Aston Villa 0.
Nothing materialises from the corner kick. Chelsea have been denied twice now by Sanchez, but that was an outstanding save as Gallagher picks it up on the right, looks towards Havertz. Chelsea coming forward, and a bit of a ricochet from Dunk's attempted clearance, bounces off the chest of Mount, picked up by Sanchez. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, they've been very, very lively. They've retaliated a little bit, Chelsea, but they are still dangerous in the break, Brighton.
It's a breathtaking game of football. Here is March now on the attack on the right-hand side. Cucurella is with him, and March gives the ball away to Bournemouth. Jonathan Overend.
0, Tottenham 0. Tottenham have had the bulk of the possession since those 2 early chances for the home side, but yet to register a serious attempt on goal. 0-0.
Havertz now for Chelsea at the other end. Havertz tries to create the opening. Havertz gets the shot away, and Sanchez makes the save at his near post. Corner kick.
Honestly, every minute there is a shot on target. There is a break. There's some really good bit of play. Actually, Havertz could have shot a little bit earlier there and might have had a better chance. And that's another save. This one, just a decent one from Sanchez, but you have no idea where this game's going. It's end-to-end. Great chances, great play. You're right. 2-0 would be the almost the least likely scoreline at the end of that if it keeps on going like this.
Sterling with a corner kick on this near side. Sterling, right-footed, goes deep. Thiago Silva heads it back into the mix. Loftus-Cheek battling for the ball. Chalobah, I think, has picked up a knock. He's wincing at the moment. Sterling tries to wriggle his way through 2 Brighton players. And Leandro Trossard back there plays it forward now towards Gross. On the counter-attack, they're looking towards Matoma. Kepa comes to the edge of the centre circle, all in green, away towards our right-hand side, and clears it out of play for a throw. There's now been a goal at Bournemouth. Jonathan Overend.
And a brilliant goal for Bournemouth. On the counter-attack, Tavernier has been dangerous on the right-hand side. He squared it, and Kiefer Moore. It's a brilliantly precise finish. Right-footed past Lloris. Bournemouth 1, Tottenham 0.
Stockport 1, Sutton 0 is the latest score in League 2. 2-0 to Brighton here at the Amex.
Well, this is really confusing now because the referee says that Cucurella is actually playing the throw-in from 20 yards in the wrong place. But unusually, he wants somebody to go forward to play it. It's usually they want him to go further back.
Wycombe 1, Morecambe 0 is the latest score in League 1.
You just look at the way that it's working just now for the likes of Solly Marsh. We thought he might play right full back. He's playing right wing back. We're watching just now. It's a front 4 as we speak for Brighton, which is incredible considering they're 2-0 up, but they don't care. They're just going to keep going for it.
Goal at Ibrox, Roddy Forsyth.
Midway through the first half, and Rangers' woes increased. They're a goal down to Aberdeen, scored by Connor Barron, but the hard work was done by Duck, who held off 3 challenges to set up the chance for his colleague. Rangers 0, Aberdeen 1.
Brighton have never beaten Chelsea in the league. In 14 previous meetings, they've lost 10 and they've drawn 4. Admittedly, their first league meeting wasn't until 1983. As here is Kovacic to the edge of the area, onto his right foot, shot charged down. I think it was Webster who got the block in there. Cucurella lets it run out of play for a throw. Sterling, throw taken quickly, cleared by McAllister to Trossard, who got the first goal, wriggles away from one challenge. Caicedo plays it back. So they've never won in 14 match in the league. Only 3 league fixtures have been played more often with one side still unbeaten. Manchester City against Bournemouth, Cardiff against Halifax, and Crystal Palace against Wrexham. The run could be coming to an end today.
Yeah, good statistic that, a good set of statistics that. And by the way, that game you were talking about, I was at it. sitting on the bench. My first ever games for Chelsea back then.
Yes.
And it's actually incredible now when you look at how long it's taken. But there's no lack of belief in this group of players here that have gone out in blue and white stripes. They really believe in themselves. Just one little moment just now. I'm watching Sterling just now. I've said that Chelsea have got the best since Potter came around from almost all the players, with one exception: Raheem Sterling. If Raheem Sterling keeps on playing the way he's playing just now, he's not even a consideration for the World Cup. He is having a really, really bad time, and today he's having an actually terrible game.
Sheffield Wednesday leading Burton by a goal to nil. Derby have got a third against Bristol Rovers. Where will we go now on BBC Radio 5 Live? It's Brentford, John Southall.
And it's Brentford 0, Wolves 0, chance apiece. Diego Costa on the run for Wolves, headed over from 10 yards, seen him score those, and Josh De Silva with a curler from 20 yards out, not far away. Brentford 0, Wolves 0.
Estupiñán with the cross, Trossard making a run towards the near post, flicks the ball wide. Yeah, I had two interesting stats about you. You mentioned about that first league meeting in 1983. Kerry Dixon scored 2 goals at the Goldstone Ground. You actually made your debut, your Chelsea debut, 10 days later against Gillingham in a League Cup tie at Stamford Bridge, because you actually never played away. You made 631 appearances in your English career. You never played away at Brighton.
No, I didn't. Absolutely not. Always in the wrong division, which is a bit of a shame, because it's a lovely place. I thoroughly enjoyed it here last night.
Bolton 0, Oxford 1, Dundee United 0, Motherwell 1. Let's get an update from Lee Blakeman at Selhurst Park.
Palace continue to push for the opener, still 0-0. Eze's just shot wide of the bottom corner from the edge of the area, and Elise's just been brought down in the area, looked at the referee. Michael Salisbury said nothing doing, 0-0.
It took me so long to do that bit of homework.
I'm very impressed.
And I actually thought, with the nature of this frenetic game, if I don't say it now, I might never say it.
Yeah, there's so much going on. Do you know what's interesting? You often look at body language and what the players are doing and who's talking. Honestly, I'm watching Thiago Silva. I don't know what he's playing. He's usually the centre back. He's turned around about 3 times to his bench to say, what's going on? He's getting no help. He's left on his own time and time again. He's not having a good time, and he's just shrugging his shoulders.
Gross plays the ball up towards March. Shepherded away from the halfway line by Cucurella. Brighton go back. Brighton still lead by 2 goals to nil. That was a risky back pass by Webster to Sanchez. He was being closed down very quickly by Havertz. We'll nip back to St James's Park. Juliet.
Martinez is back up and has stayed in goal for Aston Villa, which did look unlikely at some point, but then within 60 seconds of that happening, Buendia went down at the other end under a really hefty challenge. He was en route to score for Aston Villa, went down under a challenge from Dan Burn, so we had another lengthy stoppage. So we played around 28 minutes here. We've had 2 injuries and 1 shot on target. It's Newcastle 0, Aston Villa 0.
Well, we've been probably had 2 goals and at least 6 shots on target for what has been a thoroughly entertaining game. Brighton still 2 goals to the good. Solly March, we were told, playing right back, but he's so high up the pitch, he's taking Cucurella back with him every single time.
No, he's playing wing. He's definitely playing wing. You're absolutely right. The suspicion was that he would do that, but I think he's just been told, you're against Cucurella, make sure you get the better of him. And so far, he absolutely has.
Yeah. I mean, at the minute, it looks like Gross is actually there, doesn't it, as a right back?
It has been. You know, Chelsea can be adaptable, but Brighton have shown themselves to be incredibly adaptable and hard-working today, but it's whether they can keep it going, but they have got that cushion of 2 goals in this first half.
He's following him. Gross is following Sterling everywhere at the moment. The throw from Cucurella for Chelsea, who are 2-0 down. In the air it goes. McAllister flicks it on. Matoma picks it up, the Japanese international, and he was caught there by Chalabar, was he?
No, I think the panic was, he thought it was, there was definitely a tackle goes in from Kovacic, and as you know, Kovacic is also in a yellow card, so the referee's right behind it, says there was no contact.
Sterling now picks up the loose ball for Chelsea, drives forward, finds Havertz. Havertz takes it on into the penalty area, sliding back was Gross. Excellent challenge by Gross. Corner kick for Chelsea, 2-0 down.
Gets himself in a good position here, Kai Havertz. It's kind of inside left position. He comes in. He's got himself there probably 3 times in this game already, but he's never got his feet quite right to get a real powerful shot on target. But that is a danger area for Brighton.
Sheffield Wednesday have got a second at home to Burton at Hillsborough, and it's Portsmouth 0, Shrewsbury 1, also in League One. You're listening to 5 Live. Sterling to take the corner kick near side the left. Right-footed. Sanchez has lost it. and it's cleared away by Dunk inside his 6-yard area. Right-footed clearance, lifted high, back in by Kovacic. Sanchez, second attempt, catches the ball and goes for the early release. Trossard out of his penalty area. It was Kepa who might have just hobbling a bit.
No, he's injured before that, and I think he's pulled a calf muscle. He was trying to stretch it beforehand. I actually think, I'm not convinced he'll be able to carry on here.
No, I don't think so either. He's quickly out of his penalty area, headed the ball out of play for a throw, but he signalled to the bench. And Kepa, who this is what his 11th successive start, the only player to start all 9 previous games under Graham Potter. 10 if you include this one. Looks like he's going to have to be coming off. Let's go back to Ibrox. Roddy.
Rangers 1, Aberdeen 1, and Antonio Cholak levelling the scores with an excellent move, which Malik Tillman cut back to him all alone in the penalty area. He slid the ball away, and it's 1 each, 26 minutes gone.
This is 5 Live. Brighton lead by 2-0. Dunk coming forward, taken on by Gross, passing the ball now out towards March. March has got a bit of space to run into, edge of the area, onto his left foot, finds Trossard, scoop back towards March, off the head of March. Casino gets the shot away, right-footed, into the side netting, goal kick. Brighton are so adventurous.
In these times you do get into the Chelsea last third, you almost always get a shot either on target or very, very close to target. And looking at Kepa just now, this is madness. He's saying he's injured, the ball's out of play. If you are, sit on the ground and get the physio on to have a look at him.
The bench are furious that he actually hasn't gone down. Mendy's wanting to come on. Let's go to Selhurst Park. Lee Blakeman.
How Eze hasn't put Palace ahead, I have no idea. Still 0-0. Eze to the left of centre, edge of the area, let fly with a rocket, destined for the bottom corner. Brilliant save by Bazunu to keep it at 0-0.
Chelsea are on the attack. Here is Sterling. Held up this time by Webster. Diagonal ball. Mount to Havertz. He's forced out wide, but he doesn't kick the ball back in from the byline. It had run out of play for a goal kick.
It's actually a poor final ball there through to Havertz. He was in exactly the right position there, but it just played ahead of him. But he goes into that same position time and time again, and Kepa, he doesn't seem as if he's keen to come off. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, Wembley Stadium. Maurizio Sarri and the histrionics from Kepa. He's actually just testing the calf now, doing some stretching exercises away towards our right hand side, all in green. He had kept 5 clean sheets in his previous 10 this season, but his goal has been breached on a couple of occasions. And Brighton with Gross over the halfway line on this near side, the right, back with Solly March. Mansfield 2, Swindon 1. Portsmouth have equalised at Fratton Park at home to Shrewsbury in League One. Here is Dunk, Estupiñán, and then Estupiñán back towards Webster. The game just feels as if it's starting to settle down a fraction.
Just for a moment or two, but as soon as that happens, somebody does something weird, like Sanchez dropped the ball a few moments ago, just when it went a little bit quiet. But you feel there's certainly more explosive stuff to come before even half-time.
Here is March. Rides up his chest, controls the ball. Lallana couldn't control it. Chalobah takes it away from Matoma on the edge of his own penalty area. Forward ball. McAllister quickly in there on Havertz. Comes back to Kovacic. Slides the ball forward. Havertz able to turn out towards Gallagher on that right-hand side. Gallagher passes the ball forward towards Pulisic. Takes it away from Dunk. Goes on a large 360-degree turn. Gallagher with the cross. Arriving was Mason Mount, about 10 yards out, drops over his head. And Solly March back here now with Sterling in the right-back role to clear the ball out of play for a Chelsea throw. Back to the Rugby League World Cup, Katie Smith.
Yeah, England have hit the half-century mark in the opening minutes of the second half. England 50, Greece 4. Tommy Makinson with his second try of the tournament. The host record points in a competitive fixture is 76. They are closing in. England 50, Greece 4.
That's on Sports Extra, as will Fiji against Scotland, that gets underway at 5 o'clock in the Rugby League World Cup. You're listening to 5 Live Sport. Here we are at the Amex. Just over 10 minutes to go to half-time. Chalobah passing the ball out towards Pulisic, far side the right. Pulisic held up by Matoma. Everybody back bar Trossard. In towards Kovacic. Kovacic forward of the centre circle, chips the ball forward. Pulisic guides his header to an unmarked Gallagher, right corner of the area. In comes the cross, met by a firm header away by Dunk. Back out it goes to Gallagher on the stretch, keeps the ball in play, bypasses Loftus-Cheek. Chalobah, Chelsea will build again, will quickly nip to Newcastle. Juliet Berrington.
Where Martinez is being substituted, the Aston Villa goalkeeper Robin Olsen is coming on. Disrupted the game, we don't know, because it could be absolutely genuine. He went down for the second time. He had treatment, whether it's related to the first time when he collided with Tyrone Mings, and maybe it could be concussion, who knows. But his game is over here at St James's Park. 35 on the clock. It's Newcastle 0, Aston Villa 0.
In fact, elsewhere around the Premier League, of the other games that kicked off at 3, there's only that one at the Vitality Stadium. Bournemouth 1, Tottenham 0, that has had a goal. Goalless at Brentford, goalless at Selhurst Park, and as we just heard, goalless at St James's Park. But there has been another goal at Deepdale. Shojo Saka.
Preston 1, Middlesbrough 1. Emile Rees with an absolute thunderbolt from 20 yards out. He just bounced right for him and he smacked it straight in. Preston 1, Borough 1.
Kepa appears to have shaken off that little niggle of his calf.
What I suspect is he's looked over at Mendy warming up and thought, if I give him a chance, I may now go back in this goal again. So if he can stay on, he will stay on.
Big race of the days at Wetherby. It's the Charlie Hall chase. John Hunt.
And it's underway. They've jumped the first of 19 fences. Ahoy Signor for Scotland in second place behind early leader Paint the Dream, and Brave Man's Game held up in fourth. Classic race early season this. It's underway.
Brave Man's Game, certainly much fancied. And this has certainly been a brave man's game in the way that the tactics of the two managers.
Brave and possibly foolhardy at the same time, because it's so incredibly open. I can't see what the referee is doing just now, just telling them to get on with it a little bit. But the amount of times that Chelsea in particular have found themselves with the back two stroke back three, one-on-one, man-to-man, all the way through this game, something that never used to happen before, is happening today, and they're paid for it.
We will be back with John for the closing stages of that Charlie Hall chase at Wetherby, situated just off the A1 there in West Yorkshire. Bristol Rovers have got a goal back. Derby 3, Bristol Rovers 1. Brighton, though, lead here by 2 goals to 0. Bournemouth, Tottenham, Jonathan Obrand.
Still 1-0 to Bournemouth, but Tottenham are pressing for an equaliser. Skip has forced a smart save from Travers, and they just hit the post as well, although it would have gone down as an own goal. Ball from the right, flicked on, near post off a Bournemouth head, up against the upright. 1-0 Bournemouth.
McAllister to Dunk. Over the halfway line, he'll carry the ball. Little ball inside then to Caicedo. Brighton neatly passing the ball in field to Lallana, and then Caicedo whips it out low along the ground towards March. On the attack, right hand side, enters the penalty area, leaves Cucurella, sends over the cross. Little swish of the right hand there by Kepa, took the ball out of the penalty area. Estupiñán though was kept it in play on that far side. Back towards Caicedo. He's found Estupiñán once again, looks towards Trossard, and the ball, despite the best efforts of Kepa diving at his near post, carries it over for a corner kick.
Do you know what, if you are a Brighton attacker, you just want to fill your boots just now. Every time they go down the right or down the left, they seem to get to the byline, get a cross in, or get a dangerous shot off. And Cucurella, who's actually had a very difficult time the last 3 or 4 weeks, this time he is getting torn to shreds by Solly Marsh.
It's going to be a corner kick that McAllister is going to take on that far side to the left. Brighton and Hove Albion lead Chelsea by 2 goals to 0. McAllister waits on that far side to the left. Everybody back for Chelsea, away towards our right hand side. It's an in-swinger, and the header from Webster drops wide. A goal at Selhurst Park. Lee Blakeman.
1-0 Palace. Edouard scored it. Nice move down the left. Mitchell to the byline, got the pull back, and Edouard had a tap in from no more than 2 yards out. Palace 1, Southampton 0.
Mansfield 2, Swindon 2 is the latest score in League 2. Probably around halfway now in the Charlie Hall chase, John.
Exactly that, Ian. Just another circuit to go, and Paint the Dream leads the field, but directly together now, second and third. Ahoy Signor and Brave Man's Game, both travelling well, both jumping well, all to play for.
Brighton, as we said, have never beaten Chelsea in the league. Their only win against Chelsea was in the FA Cup third round in 1933, but they're on the attack now with March. Right corner of the area, forward ball to Caicedo. Thiago Silva slides across, last touch off March, and it goes behind for a goal kick. But they won 3-1 in an FA Cup third round tie at the Goldstone Ground. Arthur Atwood and Ernie Tug Wilson, who actually made the most appearances for Brighton, 566. Tug Wilson between 1922 and 1936. It could all change here today.
Don't give me any nicknames like that around anymore.
Webster.
I'm just anyway, just looking at it just now. I think Chelsea have to make a change. Again, always look at body language and look at the way players are looking. And Thiago Silva, every time he plays a pass, he just turns around and stares at his bench as if to say, what are we doing? And as I watched that, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is almost coming back as another centre-back beside him. But there is no doubt that wasn't working, and that's what's actually happened now.
Goal at Carrow Road, Mark Webber.
Norwich City 1, Stoke 0. Timu Pukki on the right hand side is shot palmed away by the keeper, and to get it, Aaron Ramsey on the left, and he makes it. Norwich City 1, Stoke City 0.
Derby 4, Bristol Rovers 1. Ladies score in League One. Matoma left hand side volleys the ball down by the byline over on that far side, and it will go out of play for a throw. Kukurea will retrieve it as we are going racing. It's the Charlie Hall chase, and your commentator as ever, John Hunt.
Just sailing over the fourth last. Scotland's big hope, Ahoy Signor, is beaten, Ian. He's dropped back quickly to fifth place. Not his running. So outsider Sam Brown leads over the third last, but Brave Man's Game coming alongside, and not just coming alongside, he's sauntering along like a really top-class horse. Brave Man's Game at the second last leads narrowly from Sam Brown, but he's going much better than his rival. Eldorado Allen's back in third place. Paint the Dream comes next. Ahoy Signor is going to be well beaten. Final fence, Brave Man's Game steps over it onto the run-in, 5 or 6 lengths clear. Eldorado Allen is running a fine first race of the season. He may well get second, but the honours go to Brave Man's Game. Paul Nicholls and Harry Cobden, the jockey. It wasn't the brilliant head-to-head we were hoping for, but Brave Man's Game has started the season perfectly. Meanwhile, Ian, Scotland's major hope for the year, Ahoy Signor, trails in last.
Thank you, John. That was the Charlie Hall chase live on BBC Radio 5 Live. Chelsea coming forward, Sterling central position, runs straight towards Webster. Had Mount outside of him to the left-hand side. Brighton bring it away with Lallana. Coventry lead Blackpool by a goal to nil in the Championship, and Wimbledon are 1-0 up against Harrogate in League Two. The Harrogate team coach yesterday took 8 hours to get down from North Yorkshire. Round the back is Estupiñán. And Brighton have got a third goal. And Estupiñán is celebrating. He looked for the cutback and he squeezed the ball in just before half-time. Brighton and Hove Albion find themselves in a dream position as they look for their first ever league win against Chelsea. They are 3-0 up.
Just been saying beforehand, every time Brighton get the ball in the attacking third, it's man and man. They've not got any cover whatsoever, Chelsea. With the back three line they're playing just now, if you beat your man and you're wearing blue and white, you're away. And you've gone beyond it. And this time, it was just far too easy from down the left-hand side. There was no line, no understanding at all. The ball was across the goal, and it is yet another clear-cut OG by a Chelsea player, and this time it's Chalobah who's next in.
Chalobah sliding in has guided the ball past Kepa at the near post, and every time it's being shown on the big screen here, you're getting the oh and then the olays. I think it's fair to say Brighton, they might have been a little bit apprehensive about the return of Graham Potter today. They're certainly enjoying the scoreline now.
Well, they've played very, very well. Chelsea haven't played well, but Chelsea's system isn't working. They're getting absolutely destroyed with it. Chelsea didn't change it for half an hour last week against Manchester United. I said to you 1-0 here. But Chelsea leave it till half-time to change their system. It might be too late. Well, it looks very much like it's too late. If Chelsea come out of the back three in the second half, I'll be staggered.
The atmosphere is absolutely cracking here inside the Amex. 3-0, Brighton lead Chelsea.
When you see a weakness in a team, it's all very well, but you need to be a manager who's brave enough to go and find out what that weakness is and make good use of it. And Zerbi has been fantastic. He's been so brave about it, and he's got so many attacking players on the field, and they have all put in such energetic displays. And at the moment, the biggest difficulty at the end of the game is to find out which Brighton player is going to get man of the match.
That's the voice of Pat Nevin on BBC Radio 5 Live. We're inside the last 60 seconds. And that banner that went across the crowd surfing away towards our left ahead of the game, Forza De Zerbi. This really has been tour de force from Brighton.
Yeah, I mean, brilliantly done all the way through it. Doing the sacks in the morning. I think the Brighton fans are enjoying this as much as they've enjoyed any game for a long, long time. Another chance.
Here is Trossard. Trossard gets the shot away, blocked, and it goes behind for a corner kick. Brighton have been sensational going forward.
They have been sensational, and I'm taking nothing away from that by saying, yeah, but every time they get a ball in the last third, there's nobody closing them down. The man-on-man. If you're a forward, that is dream scenario time. And especially if you're a forward with any skill whatsoever. If you've got one man to beat and you're in and goal, that just doesn't happen in the Premier League. It's happened here over a dozen times for Brighton.
60 seconds of additional time. Barrow 2, Crewe 0. Tony Watt's been sent off for Dundee United as they're trailing against Motherwell. Corner on that far side. It's an in-swinger. Comes off the head of Ruben Loftus-Cheek. Collected and kept in play by Solly March. Twists away from Sterling and rolls it back. Casido with the first time delivery, and the header from Lallana drops wide by a good foot away towards that left hand side and out for a goal kick. Brighton 3, Chelsea 0.
Brighton do not want this game or this half to finish, do they? They want it to keep on going. They're playing so well just now, they're getting chances so easy. Now half time comes, Graham Potter will have a chance to adapt his team, but what does he do? He can't be negative, surely. He has to keep on going for it to some degree. But you can imagine Chelsea, could this be the first time ever you see 5 changes at half time?
There is the half-time whistle, and at a raucous atmosphere here at the Amex, Brighton, who've been rampant, are leading by 3 goals to 0. Thiago Silva had made a couple of goal line clearances before Trossard put them ahead after 5 minutes. Loftus-Cheek then diverted a ball in from a March corner kick for an own goal to make it 2-0 after 14. Sanchez made 3 excellent saves. The one from Gallagher was superb, and then another own goal just before half-time, a third for Brighton. The clocks go back tonight. If only Graham Potter could turn back time. Half-time at the Amex. Brighton and Hove Albion 3. Chelsea 0.
Just one, Pat. They have absolutely smashed them in that. What a game of football that has been.
Yeah, it has been a great game of football. To some degree, Chelsea have helped in a number of ways, and they've attacked and given they've got a few chances themselves. But they've also helped Brighton, A, for scoring 2 of their goals, but B, for being ridiculously open.
But Brighton could have had another 3 or 4.
100%,
easily.
Yeah. No, do not disagree with that. The 3-0 is correct. That's the right scoreline. That's a fair scoreline here. They deserve to be that far ahead. But they've not sat back. When they've got the second goal, it's not as if they've said, OK, 2-0 up, we'll shut up shop, we'll try to hold on. No, they've looked at it and seen the weakness there is, particularly in that Chelsea back line. There's been 1 or 2 really dreadful performances for Chelsea. That is secondary. It's all about the positivity for that Brighton team. And well done, Zerbi. Under a lot of pressure, he goes out and he does it bravely. The fans are going to grow to love him almost as much as they dislike the other manager at the moment.
Hell of a first half at Pride Park. Bristol Rovers have just got their second from the penalty spot. Anthony Evans has scored that. They're unbeaten in their last 8 at Bristol Rovers, but they are 4-2 down as they approach the break. And on the stroke of half-time at the Valley, Sahel Sahi.
It's Charlton 0, Ipswich 1. The first piece of quality we've seen all afternoon, Mark, and it's come from a corner kick. Headed home from George Edmondson. We're approaching half-time. It's Charlton 0, Ipswich Town 1.
To the Rugby League World Cup, Katie Smith.
Yeah, two more tries to tell you about. Almost a third just moments ago. England 62, Greece 4. One coming from Mark Sneed, a brilliant move from Williams, pirouetting 50 metres down the course. Sneed converting that one over the post. Burgess adding 4 more points. England already into the quarterfinals. Remember this for the players, all about showing Sean Wayne what they can do. England 62, Greece 4.
Tottenham's poor week is getting worse. Jonathan.
Bournemouth 1, Tottenham 0 at half-time. Bournemouth have won the physical battle and the tactical battle, and the use of Marcus Tavernier on the right, the difference today, carving back-to-back chances. Early on, he cut in from the right-hand side and forced a save, so Tottenham had the warning that Tavernier was getting on the wrong side of Sessegnon, and then it happened again for the goal. Tavernier crossing on this occasion, and there was Kiefer Moore to finish, opening up his body and back across Lloris. Tottenham pushed hard for an equaliser, hit the post when Senesi deflected Son's cross, but Bournemouth look dangerous every time they get up against Spurs' back three, who are playing together for the first time today. Bournemouth 1, Tottenham 0.
Carlton Morris has just scored his 8th of the season, and Luton lead Sunderland by a goal to 0 as they approach half-time at Kenilworth Road. Ralph Hasenhüttl praising Crystal Palace's goals pre-kick-off. His Southampton players have gifted Palace a goal in the first half. Lee Blakeman.
Absolutely, Palace more than deserved to be ahead. 1-0 they lead against Southampton. Odson Edouard not long before half-time, tapping in from close range after brilliant play down the left, it has to be said, from Tyreek Mitchell and Wilfred Zaha. Edouard had one chalked off for offside just before that. Southampton, on the flip side, have created next to nothing. They've been really poor. Palace 1, Southampton 0.
Rangers have turned it round at Ibrox. They've scored on the stroke of half-time through John Lundstrom. They now lead Aberdeen 2-1. Penalty at Newcastle. Jules.
Callum Wilson is about to take it to give potentially Newcastle the lead here. It's Callum Wilson against substitute goalkeeper Robin Olsen. Callum Wilson stepping up and scores in added time at the end of the first half. It was Almiron's shot that came off Ashley Young's hand. Handball, penalty given. Wilson converts in front of Gareth Southgate, who's watching on here at St James's Park, and Newcastle lead Aston Villa by 1-0.
Next, Roddy Forsyth with details of John Lundstrom's goal.
We're in the 5th minute of injury time here in the first half at Ibrox. John Lundstrom scoring 3 minutes into that. It was a Barisic free kick. Tavernier rammed it back into the penalty area. It was saved, or at least parried, by Kelly Roos in the Aberdeen goal. Came off the post, and there was Lundstrom at no blank range, point blank, whatever exactly it is when you're right on the line. And that's it. He scored to add to the earlier goal. Barrow putting Aberdeen ahead, Cholak making it 1 each, and now it's half-time with Rangers 2-1 to the good.
Also half-time at Tannadice. Dundee United are down to 10 men. Tony Watt has been sent off for them, and they trail Motherwell by a goal to 0. Also half-time at St Johnstone, and they lead Kilmarnock by a goal to 0. They're still playing at Easter Road, and Martin Boyle has just scored from the penalty spot, and Hibs lead St Mirren by a goal to 0. We shall go to John Southall next at Brentford.
Well, we are still playing. It's Brentford 0, Wolves 0. It's been combative. It's been short on quality at times. We are still playing, actually. Vitaly Janel's just limping off for the moment. We're in the 7th minute of added time. I will just do a quick wrap up of the first half, because I'm sure we're not going to get a goal. Podence in on the left hand side for the away side, caught in two minds. Costa header over from 10 yards. Martino volley deflected wide for Brentford. Limited chances. Josh De Silva with a curler from 20 yards out. That really about it. Ivan Toney got himself in a decent position, but just slipped well placed. But as we approach half-time, it is Brentford 0, Wolves 0.
Half-time whistle has gone at Easter Road, and Hibs lead St Mirren by a goal. So let's do all the Scottish half-times, because they're all in. In the Championship, Arbroath 0, Ayr 0, Hamilton 1, Cove Rangers 2. Great first half for Wraith, who lead Partick Thistle by 3 goals to 0. In League 1, Airdrieonians also have a 3-0 lead over Montrose. It's Alloa 1, Clyde 1, Dunfermline 1, Kelty Hearts 1, Peterhead 0, FC Edinburgh 0, Queen of the South Trail Falkirk by 2 goals to 0. And in League 2, Albion Rovers 1, Stenhouse Muir 0, Annan 0, Dumbarton 0, East Fife goal up on 10-man Elgin, Stirling 1, Bonnyrigg Rose 1, and Stranraer 1, Forfar 0. Let's go into the Championship. Leaders Burnley at home to Reading. Aaron Paul.
Burnley 0, Reading 0, the home side in control, Mark, but the deadlock still very much intact, and it's wastefulness that's really holding them back. Jay Rodriguez, he's missed 2 chances, the best when Nathan Teller glided down the left, skipping past challenges. He should have really taken the shot himself, cutting into the box. Instead, Instead, he pulled it back for Rodriguez, who couldn't keep his effort down. Reading have lost Tom McIntyre to injury. Paul Ince's side just trying to contain Burnley as they keep pushing on. 0-0.
Earlier on, Bristol City 1, Swansea 1, and West Brom 0, Sheffield United 2 is how it finished. Goal in League 2. This appears to be 10 minutes behind all the other games. Walsall lead Rochdale by a goal to 0. Hayden White got that in the 35th minute. They're unbeaten in their last 3 away from home are Rochdale, but they trail this afternoon to Hull City Blackburn in the Championship. Maz Faruqi.
Blackburn moving back into the automatic promotion places at the moment. Sam Schmodix with the only goal so far, 15 minutes in. He stroked the ball in from the left from 6 yards. Hull, though, haven't been outplayed. They should be level, in fact. A cross was flashed across the 6-yard box from the left. Ryan Longman gave it everything to try and get on the end of it at the right post. He just couldn't get there. He put his body on the line too. I heard the thump from way up here at the back of the West Stand when he collided with the upright. His eagerness to try and get there. Happy to say he seems all right after some treatment. Brereton Diaz, though, looks a bit troubled with a bit of an ankle issue, so one to watch perhaps in the second half of Rovers' top scorer. Hull 0, Blackburn 1 at half-time.
Back to League 2. League 2. Sam Hoskins is Northampton's top scorer. He's just got his 12th of the season. He's rescued them this afternoon. That was a 2 o'clock kickoff at home to Newport County. It's Northampton 1, Newport County 1. Back to the Championship. The bottom side are ahead, I think. Nick Hatton.
Yes, they are. Huddersfield 1, Millwall 0. Yatsu Nakayama with the goal 8 minutes in. His cross from the left, completely deceiving George Long in the Millwall goal. Huddersfield deserving of this half-time lead. At the break, it's Huddersfield 1, Millwall 0.
Let's go back to St James's Park. Jules.
Yes, still playing. It could be Halloween by the time this match finishes. Newcastle 1, Aston Villa 0. Newcastle thought they had a second through Callum Wilson again, but it was one of those late offside flags, you know, the ones which no one really likes. Kind of ruined everything if you're a Newcastle fan. It's Newcastle 1, Aston Villa 0 at half-time, where Callum Wilson's penalty separates these two. Aston Villa were doing okay. The penalty awarded for a handball off Ashley Young. It was Almiron's shot. Newcastle before that point, though, were really frustrated. The amount of stoppages in the first half we've had in this match from Aston Villa. The goalkeeper Martinez eventually forced off 10 minutes before the break after what seemed to be concussion. Now, we can't say that. He looked really groggy, though, as he came off. He collided with Tyrone Mings from a shot of Joe Linton in the 19th minute. Spilled the ball on the rebound, collided with Mings and spent an awful long time in his penalty signal, in his penalty area, receiving treatment. It looked really unlikely that the match he was going to continue, but he did. But then the second time he went down, there was no way he could continue. As I say, he looked really, really groggy as he made his way off the pitch. Buendia also received a lot of treatment as well after he came off worse after colliding with Dan Burn. They were doing all right, Aston Villa. They just got to keep their composure. But Newcastle lead here at half-time by 1-0 through that penalty. Callum Wilson and Gareth Southgate's here watching on too.
Half-time whistle has gone at Brentford, and that is goalless against Wolves. Let's go back to the Championship. Mark Webber at Norwich.
Norwich 1, Stoke City 0. Dean Smith rolled the dice with 6 Norwich changes. Paid off so far. Aaron Ramsey pouncing onto a poor palm away by Stoke keeper Joe Burshik to make it Norwich 1, Stoke City 0.
Next to Deepdale, Shojo Saka.
Preston 1, Middlesbrough 1. Very even, very lively. Chuba Akpom giving Middlesbrough an early lead through a header. The home side equalised through Emil Rees. Such a powerful shot. He almost took the net off. Akpom then missed a golden chance just before the break. Preston 1, Borough 1.
Elsewhere in the Championship, it's goalless between Cardiff and Rotherham. Coventry, who are in decent form, unbeaten in 4 in the Championship. They lead at the break at home to Blackpool. Casey Palmer got that goal. It's Luton 1, Sunderland 0, as I was saying. Carlton Morris is 8th of the season in first half. Stoppage time, and it's goalless at the DW between Wigan and Watford. Into League 1, we're at Charlton this afternoon. Sahel Sahi.
Charlton 0, Ipswich 1. Not the best half of football, but just before the break, first piece of class, a corner picking out George Edmondson to head firmly in for a 1-0 lead at half-time. Charlton 0, Ipswich 1.
Elsewhere in League 1, Barnsley lead Forest Green Rovers by a goal to 0. Devontae Cole's 5th of the season there. Bolton 0, Oxford 1, goalless between Cheltenham and MK Dons. Derby 4, Bristol Rovers 2, a David McGoldrick hat-trick for Derby in that game. James Collins got the other one for them. 5 for the season now for him. Fleetwood 0, Accrington Stanley 0. Peterborough, who've won 5 of their last 7, lead Cambridge by a goal to 0 at the break. Port Vale 0, Lincoln 0, Portsmouth 1, Shrewsbury 1. Sheffield Wednesday are 2-0 up on Burton. Barry Bannon and Michael Smith second in 2 games with the goals there. The Smith one from the penalty spot, and Wickham lead Morecambe by a goal to 0. They're still playing at Northampton in League 2. Northampton 1, Newport 1. The leaders are ahead. Hamish Marshall.
Yeah, they've not been at their best though. Paul Smith scored their goal from a tight angle. Aaron Drinan hit the post after Tom King failed to collect a regulation ball. Salford not out of this. Leyton Orient 1, Salford 0.
AFC Wimbledon 1, Harrogate 0. Barrow lead Crewe by 2 goals to 0. Josh Gordon got the second for Barrow there. 8 for the season for him. Goalless between Bradford and Crawley. Colchester 1, Stevenage 1. Doncaster 0, Gillingham 0, Hartlepool 0, Grimsby 1. Gavin Holohan with his 3rd of the season for the visitors there. Leyton Orient, as we've heard, lead Salford by a goal to 0. Great first half at Mansfield. They've shared 4 goals with Swindon. Mansfield 2, Swindon 2. Stockport leads Sutton by a goal to 0. Carl Wotton, the former Notts County striker, getting the goal for Stockport. Sutton have been down to 10 men in that game since the 3rd minute. Tranmere 0, Carlisle 1. Christian Dennis with his 9th of the season. And as they approach half-time at the Bescot, Walsall lead Rochdale by a goal to 0. In the National League, Chesterfield 1, Borehamwood 0. Dagenham and Redbridge 2. Wealdstone 0. Dorking 0. Aldershot 1. Gateshead 1. Solihull Moors 0. Maidenhead 0. Bromley 0. Maidstone 0. Yeovil 1. The leaders Notts County are 2-0 up on Torquay. Woking 0. Eastleigh 0. Wrexham 2. Altrincham 0. And York 0. Southend 1. You're up to date with all the football in the Rugby Union, in the Gallagher Premiership. Quins 0. Irish 14 at half-time, and they're just into the second half at Northampton, who lead Bristol by 31 points to 7. And at the Rugby League World Cup, England 72, Greece 4, with about 15 minutes to go. It's on Sports Extra if you want to listen to that. It's exactly 4 o'clock. Here's the news.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
The government says its decision to allow Octopus Energy to take over its failed rival Bulb will protect consumers and taxpayers. Bulb's been kept afloat with billions of pounds of taxpayer money for nearly a year. A 19-year-old man's been arrested on suspicion of murdering a student in Manchester. Luke O'Connor, who was 19, was stabbed in the Fallowfield area in the early hours of Wednesday. Police say they don't think he knew his attacker. And rail passengers in Scotland are facing widespread disruption as staff at ScotRail take industrial action in a dispute over pay. Trains are running on just 3 routes in the Central Belt.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
Back to Katie Smith at Bramall Lane.
Oh, England 76, Greece 4. They are running right at the host. They've equalled their record points in a competitive fixture. We've had another for Ryan Hall, for Andy Ackers, Joe Batchelor on his debut. England 76, Greece 4.
And as the teams come back out at Brighton, I can see the 4th official in between the technical areas with his board. Are we expecting substitutions, Ian?
We were expecting substitutions, but not the raft of substitutions. The one is that we probably thought was always going to happen because of Kepa Arrizabalaga. Looked like he'd pulled a calf muscle during that first half, and indeed he has been replaced by Edouard Mendy. So he comes on for his 100th appearance for Chelsea and his first under Graham Potter. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, but there's been an even bigger change for Chelsea. It's had to down at half-time there. They can't play with a back 3. They just absolutely can't do that second half. Well, they're not going to. Ruben Loftus-Cheek is now right full-back, which is a very square peg in a round hole. But that was obvious from 15 minutes in. And it's taken until 45 and 3 goals down for that change to be made.
So that is the voice of Pat Nevin. We're underway in the second half here at the Amex for Brighton and Hove Albion, who lead by 3 goals to 0 and are 45 minutes away from their first ever league success against Chelsea at the 15th attempt. So they play in their blue and white striped shirts and white shorts from right to left, with Sanchez in goal, March, Webster, Dunk and Estupiñán, Gross, McAllister, Caicedo, Lallana, Mitoma and Trossard. And Chelsea in this third strip, the official description is, what did we say, sesame yellow. Somebody has once said to me as well, it could be butterscotch blancmange.
caramel, light caramel, mild caramel. So we were talking strips here.
But they've made just that change. Mendy, and then with now Loftus-Cheek at right back, Chalobah, Thiago Silva, and then Cucurella at left back, and then you've got Kovacic, Gallagher, Pulisic, Sterling, and Havertz for Chelsea, who need to produce one hell of a fight back as they attack the away end here at the Amex, where the Chelsea fans are housed. And I would think that most of the Brighton supporters have enjoyed that half-time interval, but also just got their breath back, because at times it was exhilarating. It certainly felt chaotic. Mount to Havertz, because Chelsea themselves could have got at least 2 goals. Mount with a cross, that was blocked. The save from Sanchez. I mean, Pat, to be fair, called it very early on when he went, this game will be the top billing with match of the day. 10:30 tonight, Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer and Ian Wright. But that's then before we had the amount of chances that we had and the goals that we had in that first half. More of the same, yes please.
I don't actually think it will be more of the same in the second half from Brighton. They have tried to stand to very, very calmly here. You know, going goes at 100 mile an hour, then Chelsea have got slightly more opportunity to get back in the game. So I don't think Brighton really want that at the start of the second half.
Here is Loftus-Cheek. Runs forward, holds off the challenge of Matoma, back towards Gallagher, first time cross, Havertz with a header, Chelsea have got a goal back, he has a little glance to his right, the flag stays down, and Chelsea have made the perfect start to the second half. 2.5 minutes in, that's one back, Brighton 3, Chelsea 1.
Oh, you just wonder. I mean, the last word you say is the manager, you know, go out and, you know, start well, start brightly. If you can get an early goal, you never know. And just because he changed that system, Ruben Loftus-Cheek goes up and plays that overlapping lineup. Once again, Kai Havertz talked about that area that he arrives in all the time. He is superb at that. This time, header on target, keeper almost saves it. 3-1. Game on, dare I say.
Chelsea now play the ball forward. He'd lost Webster. Webster was the marker. There must have been 2-3 yards, got him behind him, and it was a free header. And that certainly will have tempered a little bit of the enthusiasm. Although, hold on, Brighton are now coming forward. Estupiñán, late challenge by Sterling. Referee plays a very good advantage, Andy Madley. Matoma to the edge of the area, slipped by Loftus-Cheek. Matoma holds the ball up, twists again, down towards the byline, puts the ball back, cleared away by Cucurella. McAllister lays it off, Gross gets it out from underneath his feet with the rising drive, and that goes over the top for a goal kick. There have been changes, I'm hearing, at Bournemouth. Jonathan Overend.
Oh, stand by.
Jonathan, you're live. Hello, Jonathan.
It's Bournemouth 2, Tottenham 0, and it's another brilliant goal scored by Kiefer Moore. Diving header, old school diving header, getting the better of Davinson Sanchez. The cross from the right hand side. Bournemouth 2, Tottenham 0.
That would be 3 defeats in the Premier League for Tottenham. 3 successive defeats in the Premier League. Estupiñán is still down. The referee played a very good advantage, Pat. Has he taken action against?
I think he's waiting to make sure it's not serious foul play. Raheem Sterling, just his reaction to it was very strange, and he's got, dare I say, away with a yellow card. Raheem Sterling. He's had a very, very difficult afternoon. By the way, just one other thing. I mean, when you see a slight problem coming up, Matoma, who I mentioned to you before the game, I'm a huge fan of him as a player. A technically exceptional player. He's now up against a player and right back who's not a natural right back. I'm surprised at that. I don't think that's fair on Ruben Loftus-Cheek. He could do with a fullback who's a natural fullback there. He got a cross in there, but a normal fullback wouldn't allow in, so that's a danger area for Chelsea.
Northampton got a late equaliser against Newport at Sixfields. It was a 2 o'clock kickoff. It has finished. Northampton Town 1, Newport County 1. We're back underway. Estupiñán has received lengthy treatment as Loftus-Cheek plays the ball down towards Havertz, who spreads play out towards Pulisic. Pulisic, though, a little bit sluggish, unable to keep the ball in play. Fleetwood are leading Accrington by a 1-0 in League One. we will go to Crystal Palace Southampton. Lee Blakeman.
Palace 1, Southampton 0. Southampton have been better since the break, but Palace have gone closest. Zaha cutting in from the left, shot deflected wide of the far post. 1-0 Palace still lead.
Brighton have a throw, far side the right. Gross goes towards Lallana, but Pulisic heads it back for Chelsea to Thiago Silva, and now it is with Chalobah.
I'm going to try and test your memory here. First game by Thiago Silva for Chelsea, was it? I think it might have been against Brighton, and he made a terrible mistake, caused the goal in that game. We'll have to look that one up.
I will be able to find out for you. As you know, on a Saturday afternoon, have to multitask.
Well, you've got about a million things to do here.
I certainly haven't got the memory, I know that for a fact.
Now, it's very interesting that Thiago Silva certainly at fault for one, maybe even two of the goals early on in the game. But I think he was calling over all the way through that first half as if to say, look, this back three isn't working, you need two centre-backs in there. And as soon as it's gone to that, Chelsea look a little bit more comfortable.
You're listening to 5 Live and the World Service, where Cucurella still being booed and jeered as he returns to his former club, plays a ball towards Chalobah, almost got caught in possession by Matoma, who then tries to pull back at Kovacic, who shrugs him off. It's a strong run by Kovacic. He's done well. He finds Pulisic into Mount in the penalty area. What a save from Sanchez! The cut back on the left-hand side took a deflection off a Brighton player, and Sanchez with a reflex save.
Okay then, just skip that line beforehand. Brighton are going to have to play this a little bit more often now, because that's just the way they play. But when Chelsea broke there, they broke at phenomenal pace there, and we're very unlucky not to get another goal back.
Let's get an update in the Rugby League World Cup. Katie Smith.
We've just had another try, and I already had one to tell you about. England 86, Greece 4. The latest from Andy Ackers just before that. Wigan's Kai Pearce-Paul on his international debut, making it 16 tries for England here. Just under 5 minutes to go. England 86, Greece 4.
Harrogate Town have equalised at Wimbledon. That's 1-1 in League 2. 3-1 to Brighton. 4:10 on a Saturday afternoon. Clear blue skies, no need for a jacket, such as the mild conditions, and we have been treated royally to an exceptionally good game of football.
Yeah, it is one of those special Premier League games, isn't it, in the afternoon? Two teams absolutely going for it at the moment, with two coaches, let's be fair, he's very, very attack-minded. It's not worked so far for Graham Potter, but at the moment, just after getting that ball back, that goal back at the start of the second half, you just never know. And it's that classic old line, the next goal is going to be so vital psychologically to this game. If it's for Brighton, they'll probably go and win. If it's for Chelsea, there'll be worries around the stadium.
Graham Potter's last game here was that 5-2 win against Leicester City. Wouldn't rule out seeing another 7 goals here today. I know we've already had 4 as the ball runs loose. Caicedo hits it early. Trossard looked like he was in an offside position, but it came off a Chelsea player, and it will go out of play for a Brighton throw. Brentford Wolves, John Southall, let's get an update.
0-0, 3 minutes played in the second half. Early chance for Brentford. Josh De Silva shot from the edge of the area, deflected through to Brian Mbomo, unmarked, 8 yards out, header straight at Sarr. Brentford 0, Wolves 0.
Dunk with a back pass to Sanchez. You would think sometimes managers say goalkeepers are only doing their job when they make saves. Sanchez's part in this, what could be a Brighton win, could easily get overlooked today.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 2 really, really brilliant saves, but also just generally being in the right place, doing the right things at the right time, and just blocking shots. But he has to be there, and it's probably 4 or 5 that he's actually had to stop in that sort of position. But I think the pick of them was the header from Gallagher. Absolutely magnificent, and we were right behind it in the most brilliant position.
Now, Crawley have been going well under Lewis Young, unbeaten in 4, but they're trailing at Valley Parade. Bradford City 1, Crawley 0, and Fleetwood have got a second at home to Accrington in League 1. Chelsea are attacking. Pulisic, far side the left, enters the penalty area, crosses the ball towards Sterling. Tucked in though was Estupiñán. Estupiñán clears the ball out of play over towards that far side. Chelsea, remember, are playing from left to right. 10 minutes into the second half. Blackpool have just equalised at Coventry. Coventry 1, Blackpool 1. That's in the Championship. Here now is Mason Mount. One of 2 changes made by Graham Potter. who stands and watches. Alongside Billy Reid, his trusty assistant. Sterling gives the ball away towards Matoma, passes the ball forward. Estupiñán is ahead of him. Over the halfway line, Kovacic tries to win the ball back and succeeds, as there's now been a goal at Brentford. John Southall.
And it's gone to Brentford. Brentford 1, Wolves 0. Came from a short corner on the left-hand side. The ball was whipped over by Brian Mbeumo. And there's a centre-half. Brilliant finish from Ben Mee on the volley. 8 yards out. Brentford 1, Wolves 0.
Another goal, it's at Bournemouth, Jonathan Overend.
One back for Tottenham, and Ryan Sessegnon scored it. He was about to be substituted. Perisic was about to come on for him, but Sessegnon, great burst down the left. He's finished and he's staying on. Bournemouth 2, Tottenham 1.
Sheffield Wednesday 3, Burton 0, and our featured game in League One is Charlton Ipswich. There's been a goal at the Valley. Sahel Sahi.
A second one for Ipswich. Charlton 0, Ipswich 2. The free kick wasn't cleared by the home defence. It fell to Tyrese John Jules, and he headed home from 4 yards away. Ipswich are going top of League One. Charlton 0, Ipswich 2.
Yeah, they are, because Plymouth, the previous leaders, they play Exeter in the Devon Derby on Monday night. You're listening to 5 Live here at the Amex. Sterling with a layoff, Loftus-Cheek trying to get forward, got stuck underneath his feet, and it bobbles out of play for a throw. Another goal at Ibrox, running for sight.
And Rangers are now firmly in command. Their captain James Tavernier getting it. He doesn't usually score headers, but in this case, back post from a Barisic cross. Rangers 3, Aberdeen 1, 50 gone.
Oxford United only 1 win in 9 before today, but have just got a second goal at Bolton in League One. Bolton 0, Oxford United 2. Here is Gallagher. Chelsea playing from left to right, back towards Loftus-Cheek. Loftus-Cheek running infield. Now towards Thiago Silva, controls it, passes the ball forward towards Kovacic. There's been another goal at Brentford, John Southall.
Whoa, what about this? Brentford 1, Wolves 0. Brilliant finish from Ruben Neves, just on the edge of the area, and placed it into the bottom right-hand corner. Brentford 1, Wolves 1.
So 1-1 there between Brentford and Wolves. It's still 3-1 here to Brighton. Free kick given in favour of the home side by referee Andy Madley, who last took charge of Chelsea when he was at the centre of that controversial incident at the end of the game against West Ham, when West Ham were denied an equaliser. Here is Trossard, enters the penalty area for Brighton, up against Chalobah. Chalobah has a couple of nibbles at Trossard, then uses his strength, holds off Trossard, drops to a knee. Trossard, though, somehow manages to win the ball back. He did superbly well. The odds seem stacked against the diminutive Belgian. Now with McAllister. Inside, Solly-March drives it, blocked. Pulisic gives the ball away straight away. Pat Nevin.
Well done, Brighton. They looked as if they were under a caution. Now they've been really, really quiet for about 5 or 10 minutes, but they've turned it again there, and they're pushing players forward, making this the game we want it to be.
March on the attack, right hand side, level with the penalty area. Mansfield 2, Swindon 3. Webster delivers the cross. Mendy, the substitute goalkeeper, catches it. Still 3-1 Brighton. What about Newcastle Villa? Juliet Berrington.
4 minutes into the second half, it's still Newcastle 1, Aston Villa 0. We had another stoppage though, 3 minutes into the second half, this time between Tyrone Mings and Sean Longstaff. They both went for the ball, they both collided heads, they're both back on the pitch playing again, and we're into the 50th minute. Newcastle 1, Aston Villa 0.
Tranmere 0, Carlisle 2 is the latest score at Prenton Park in League 2. You're listening to 5 Live and the World Service. We've got commentary to come from Craven Cottage at 5:30 after Sports Report with Mark Chapman. Fulham Everton at 5:30. Chelsea are on the attack. It's with Pulisic on that left-hand side, stops the ball left corner of the area, passes the ball back towards Mason Mount, shoots from distance, right-footed, dragged well wide, and out it goes for a goal kick. Pat Nevin.
A little bit desperate there from Chelsea. It's about 30 yards out, and Sanchez, I mean, he's been brilliant today, so it's going to take something extra special to beat him from there. But just a little bit of calmness that was needed for Brighton. They've had it in the last little while. They've adapted this style as well in this game. It's very noticeable when the way they play it out. They're very an interesting technical side at the moment. When they're defending, playing out for the back, they have 5. Then there is a gap of about 60 yards until you see the next player, and there's 4 or 5 up front. Really intriguing the way that Zerbi's playing this game.
De Zerbi, who had come into this game without a win. Previous managers who had not gone, 6 matches without failing to win would have been Don Welsh in 1948 and Barry Lloyd in 1987. And he might not necessarily go that way if they can get the win here today. But Loftus-Cheek is forward here, and Loftus-Cheek with a shot takes the deflection and goes out of play for a corner kick. Goal at Turf Moor. Aaron Paul.
Well, Burnley 0, Reading 1. Tom Ince has broken the deadlock here against the runner play. Joe Lumley with the long ball forward. There was a header on. Ince rounded the goalkeeper in acres of space and planted into the bottom corner. Burnley 0, Reading 1.
Chelsea are making a double change. It's going to be Chilwell and Aubameyang who are going to be coming on. Mount, though, to take the corner kick. It's an outswinger headed forward by Thiago Silva. Sanchez has lost it, comes out towards Havertz. It was a weak shot down into the ground and cleared away by Brighton.
But another half chance, yet another half chance. It's bobbling about everywhere. This time Sanchez didn't actually cover himself in glory, but another half chance for Chelsea. You just feel, well, this game, even though they had 4 goals, it looks a long way from being finished in terms of goals scored.
I said that Crawley were going well, and they've equalised at Bradford. Bradford 1, Crawley 1, Fleetwood 3, Accrington 0. Stockport have got a second goal at home to Sutton United, and you're up to date on 5 Live. Here is Havertz to the edge of the area, in towards Sterling, took a deflection and took it crucially away out of Sterling's path.
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal play there by Havertz, the way he actually trapped the ball with his chest and played Sterling through. But the one time Sterling got away, he never got in the end of the ball. Well done this time, Sanchez out like lightning to get the ball.
Brighton are also going to be making a change too, as the move breaks down and it's hit forward by Ruben Loftus-Cheek, but cleared by Lewis Dunk. Headed well though, forcefully back by Loftus-Cheek, and it drops to the feet of Kai Havertz, who seems to have his legs chopped by Dunk. The referee says he got the ball, and now Brighton can bring it away with Trossard. Inside towards Lallana. Lallana fouled by Chalobah. No, he got up, fell down too easily. Referee tells him to get back to his feet. Trossard, though, meanwhile, runs it out towards the left touchline, and now makes a beeline towards the penalty area, but it breaks down. Estupiñán tries to keep it alive, but it runs out of play for a goal kick. 20 past 4, full time in the Rugby League World Cup. Katie Smith.
A ridiculous scoreline. England 94, Greece 4. England look a little annoyed they didn't even hit triple digits. 17 tries for the host. Dom Young with 4 of those. They have a 100% record coming out of their group. Quarterfinals are next week. It finishes England 94, Greece 4.
So Aubameyang has come on for Raheem Sterling. That won't surprise many people who've been listening to the commentary. Pulisic was coming off, but he's now been told to go back the other way. So they're going to change it. I think the electronic board was wrong. Is it going to be Cucurella?
Yeah,
So Chilwell for Cucurella. And that will certainly please the Brighton and Hove Albion supporters. Pat Nevin.
Well, particularly please them because Cucurella now has to walk half the pitch round the back, past every single one of those Brighton fans, and well, he's doing a good job to ignore them, but they are loving this moment of being able to boo their former hero.
And the Brighton change. Matoma is coming off. Penalty at Ibrox, Roddy Forsyth.
And it's a penalty for Rangers, which followed a fairly lengthy VAR check. The ball was judged to have been handled by Aberdeen's Richardson, so now Tavernier, who's already scored with a header, waits to take the penalty kick at the far end of the pitch. Referee just making sure there's no incursions, and finally indicates that Tavernier can step forward, but he doesn't yet. Now at last he does, and he hits the post, and it comes back off, and Tavernier has done what he rarely does. He's missed the penalty kick, so it's still Rangers 3, Aberdeen 1.
The change here is that Lallana is coming off, and he's going to be replaced by Julio Enciso, the Paraguayan international. He's only 18 years of age, and it's going to be a Premier League debut for him. Initially, the fourth official got that one wrong as well. He had Matoma coming up.
Both of them wrong. And certainly at the moment, Enciso, it's a great opportunity for him. 2 goals up, home game. It's a big one. Everyone, all the eyes on it. Must really believe in him, Serbi. Must believe in him, because this is a big moment to bring a player on, young player.
Welcome to my world for the fourth official. Doncaster 1, Gillingham 0, Barrow 3, Crewe 0, and Mansfield are down to 10 men. Boateng has been sent off as they trail at home to Swindon Town by 3 goals to 2. Mansfield, who are still unbeaten at home in League 2. Matoma to Trossard. Trossard in the penalty area, goes for the chip, caught by the goalkeeper Mendy.
Yeah, but from Mendy's own mistake there, he tried to play the ball out with his feet, and that's probably the main reason he's actually not being preferred at the moment, because with his feet he isn't as good as Kepa, and he was almost caught out again there.
Ball played out of the back. Now it's with Chalobah, who brings it forward. Loftus-Cheek on this near side, the right. Still 3-1 to Brighton. But we've only been playing for 66 minutes as Pulisic wriggles free. Right corner of the area, taken and dispossessed by Dunk. As Pulisic tries to keep the ball in play. But Lewis Dunk was strong, he was firm in the challenge. There was no way through.
Brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant defending, because the pace that Pulisic was going at him there, he couldn't make a mistake, but he didn't.
Goal at Newcastle, Juliet Farrington.
Where Newcastle have increased their lead over Aston Villa, 2-0 now, and it's a second for Callum Wilson. This time from a corner, it was taken by Kieran Trippier, short to Almiron, who back-tailed it to Trippier, who crossed the ball in, and Almiron with a downward header put it into the back of the net. Don't forget, Gareth Southgate's here. Newcastle 2, Aston Villa 0. Oh, hang on, it's gone to VAR, so come back, we'll see if it still stands.
Well, that could be anybody's guess as to how long it takes for VAR to sort it out, Jules, but we will indeed. Here is Havertz for Chelsea to Aubameyang. Gallagher with his back to goal outside the penalty area, looking still to try and get another goal back into this game. Chelsea 3-1 down. Pulisic right side of the penalty area, left-footed cross. That was blocked by Estupiñán. Comes back to the American. Then he lays it back behind him for Loftus-Cheek. Forward ball to Gallagher. Gallagher goes square, neatly worked by Chelsea. Pulisic, left-footed shot, blocked, headed away by March inside the penalty area. Meanwhile, there's been another goal at the Valley. Sir Hale.
Charlton are back in the game, Ian. It's Charlton 1, Ipswich 2. Ipswich didn't clear their lines from across from the right, and it was Raksaki who poked it home from 4 yards away. Charlton 1, Ipswich 2.
That goal stands, I'm being told, by Callum Wilson in front of the England manager. So Newcastle United 2, Aston Villa 0 is a latest score after that VAR check as Mendy comes out of his penalty area. Thiago Silva didn't opt to pass the ball back to him, and then Mendy accidentally ran into Enciso, but there was no foul there despite the protestations from the Brighton supporters.
Once again, Mendy coming out there, but there's no need for it. Thiago Silva is completely controlling that situation. Give a bit of depth, allow Thiago Silva to play the ball back. Thiago Silva just said, I'm not having this, I'll deal with it, even though it meant taking the ball around his own goalkeeper.
Cardiff 1, Rotherham United 0 is the latest score in the Championship. Cardiff, who've lost their last 3 without scoring, they are ahead in South Wales. Chelsea have got a free kick, it's left of the centre circle.
It's not a bit of a nasty little free kick there. Enciso. But at this point in time, just slow the game down again if you possibly can, if you're Brighton.
Here is Mason Mount coming from deep. He's lost the ball. There's been another goal on Tyneside. Jules.
Yeah, Newcastle well and truly in control of this one. 3-0 now against Aston Villa. We thought it was Callum Wilson in on a hat-trick. Came off the rebound and in fired Joe Linton. And the Brazilian national team coach is in the stands as well. Newcastle leading Aston Villa by 3-0.
Would extend their unbeaten run to 8. It would actually take them to 3rd in the table as it stands. Their only defeat all season was that late winner for Liverpool at Anfield. Havertz to Aubameyang, coming in off that left-hand side. Aubameyang with a shot, flying save by Sanchez, two-handed away towards his left-hand side. Comfortable height for the keeper. Loftus-Cheek, right corner of the area, diverted behind by Caicedo. Chelsea have a corner at 3-1 down.
There are just moments in Chelsea, and it is only moments, when they got that pitch and the pace that they can change it to. When Havertz comes from deep, Aubameyang goes down the line there, and they look bordering on unstoppable. Problem is, it's only been moments, it's not been regular enough.
Mason Mount to take the corner kick. Next goal absolutely crucial. In it comes, headed away by Webster in front of Loftus-Cheek. Comes out to Chilwell, fires the ball back in, and it runs across the face of goal and out of play. It goes for a goal kick. Hibs lead St Mirren 2-0 at Easter Road. What about Palace Southampton in the Premier League, Lee Bleakman?
Palace 1, Southampton 0. Southampton should be level though. Stuart Armstrong into the area left side, shot from a tight angle, hit the near post, and Shea Adams is twice been denied by Vicente Guaita in the Palace goal. Palace 1, Southampton 0.
Chelsea have gained 6 points from losing positions this season. Not quite the highest, but it's certainly one of the better returns. As Kovacic to Aubameyang. Aubameyang on the edge of the area, couldn't release it towards Pulisic. It runs through towards the goalkeeper Sanchez. But no side has scored more goals in the Premier League in the final 15 minutes than Chelsea with 6. Although, to counter that, Brighton are one of three who are yet to concede in that period.
Yeah, but they've got enough strikers on there, and they've got Kai Havertz on there, Aubameyang's up there, you've got Mount flying up alongside Gallagher and Pulisic. There are enough Chelsea players in there if they can create chances.
Ball played forward by McAllister. Estupiñán on the stretch, couldn't gather it in. Lamptey waits still to come on. He's been waiting patiently for about the last 5 minutes for Brighton and Hove Albion against his former side. 3-1 to Brighton. Pulisic though on this near side, the right. Matoma back pedals inside towards Gallagher. Gallagher goes back. There's been a goal at Turf Moor. Aaron Paul.
With a cracking strike from the edge of the area. Brownhill's initial cross cleared away, only to the edge of the D. Benson swung a boot to it, it flew into the back of the net. 1-1.
So Burnley with the equaliser there, looking to extend their unbeaten run to 15 matches in the Championship. Havertz for Chelsea. 30 yards out from goal, central position. Gallagher passes the ball out to Chilwell, just in from the left touchline. Gallagher will get another touch. Chilwell goes on the inside. Mount was trying to roll away there from the challenge of McAllister. He goes to ground, but he's eventually back to his feet.
Definitely a chance to make the change though, and I think that's a big one for Brighton just now. And if Tariq Lamptey's actually back to his full fitness, that is a massive, massive difference that he will make to their team. And the applause for Matoma, who's coming off. I mean, he's been superb in flashes in this game. Certainly his involvement in the first goal was superb, but he's a player I do urge you to look out for.
So on comes Tariq Lamptey, yet to start in the Premier League this season. It's his 10th substitute appearance. He joined Chelsea as a 7-year-old. He left in January 2020, and now the new Ghanaian international comes on to face his former side. There's a free kick to Chelsea. We're going straight to Bournemouth after this, where there's been a goal, but meanwhile the free kick is taken to Kovacic, who now plays the ball in towards the penalty area, chested back by dunk to his goalkeeper Sanchez. Goal at Bournemouth then, Jonathan Overend.
Equaliser for Tottenham. Bournemouth 2, Tottenham 2. They've come from 2 down, and the corner from the right-hand side was headed in by Ben Davies, but it's a terrible error from Mark Travers, who came off his line and got absolutely nowhere near it. Bournemouth 2, Tottenham 2.
Here is Gallagher. Plays the ball forward to Havertz. Pulisic first-time shot, saved by Sanchez. Goal at Carrow Road in the Championship, Mark Webber.
Norwich City 2, Stoke 2, Aaron Ramsey 2 as he plays a neat 1-2 with Teemu Pukki in the area and gets the final ball home. Norwich City 2, Stoke 0.
It's 4:30 on this Saturday afternoon. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. We've got commentary in an hour after Sports Report. The results and the reaction with Mark Chapman of Fulham Everton at 5:30. Updates of Liverpool Leeds United. 6:06 of course is after all of the live action. And then tomorrow 5 Live's Premier League Sunday, Arsenal Forest at 2. Manchester United West Ham at 4:30 to be followed by the Mexican Grand Prix. But here we could have a very lively 16 minutes remaining. Just mentioning Fulham Everton, the team news from Alistair Bruce Paul.
2 changes for a Fulham team that's trying to make it 3 Premier League wins in a row here this evening. Issa Diop in for Tosin at the back. Naskins Kibano returns to the side in place of Harry Wilson. Everton are unchanged after they sparkled in their 3-0 win over Crystal Palace last weekend.
Mark Schwarzer will have squeezed his way into the commentary position at Craven Cottage to be alongside Ali as Enciso tries to wriggle his way through Chalabar and Loftus-Cheek. Chalabar goes to ground, down by the corner flag, deep inside the Chelsea half, and he gets a free kick for his efforts. Just over a quarter of an hour remaining, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, so maybe a question mark. I mean, down there in the corner, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and you're thinking, do you know what? You're 2 goals down, you're quarter an hour to go. Do you think you should maybe move this ball about a bit quicker? Get on with the game. But it's taking them 30 seconds, 40 seconds to get the game started again. You need more urgency in that situation.
Swindon have got a 4th goal against the 10 men now of Mansfield. Mansfield 2, Swindon 4 in League 2. Still 3-1 to Brighton. Trossard, who opened the scoring, chips the ball forward towards March. Strikes the number 7 on the back of his shirt, but Lamptey on the overlap with a cross. Almost spilled by Mendy. There we saw the pace of Tariq Lamptey. 1 minute he was nowhere, the next minute he's delivering the ball.
You know, the minute he comes on you think, well, that's not going to weaken them in any way whatsoever, because defensively he's good, but it's almost like bringing 2 players on, isn't it? He is a winger for you as well as being a full-back. However, at the back post he will be marking Kai Havertz, a slight difference in height there.
He switched his allegiance to Ghana in July. He made his debut against Brazil in September, did Tariq Lamptey, as Broja waits to come on for Chelsea. Ball in towards Mason Mount, cleared away by Webster, only as far as Havertz, edge of the area. Passes the ball out to the left-hand side. Chilwell with a cross, caught by Sanchez. 14 minutes remain.
Yeah, but once again it looked quite calm in that back line there. Very, very calm in the back line from Brighton, you know. And we talked beforehand about Duncan Webster. They have been absolutely brilliant.
And Cissé with a blistering effort, patted down in the end by Mendy. Let's get an update from Brentford with John Southall.
Brentford 1, Wolves 1. It's suddenly livened up here. We've had Podence denied by Raya. Diego Costa's headed over. Costa's had a few words with Thomas Frank in the Brentford dugout as well. 20 minutes to play. Brentford 1, Wolves 1.
Broja waits to come on. Ziyech is also going to be coming on.
I think that's what they're looking for just now in Chelsea. They're getting into that final third regularly, but the creativity hasn't there, the quality of crosses, apart from that first one that landed on Kai Havertz's head. So they will hope and expect to get the ball to Ziyech, and he can maybe land the ball on Broja's head.
Bolton have got a goal back. Bolton 1, Oxford 2. Another goal at Newcastle. Juliet Farrington.
Oh my goodness me, if you see this on Match of the Day tonight, what a strike from Almiron for Newcastle's fourth against Aston Villa. He made absolute rip as it went into the back of the net. They absolutely love 4 goals, don't they, Newcastle? 2 in their previous 5 matches. They've got another.
Brighton are on the break. It's Enciso. Enciso's got Trossard in support. Enciso's got to go it alone into the penalty area, and it takes a deflection and runs out of play for a corner kick. And Trossard is left looking at him thinking, why did you not pass me the ball?
Yeah, he got it all wrong there. I mean, he should have got a shot away much earlier. But if he's not going to shoot, you've got to play your mate in. I mean, I know the excitement of it. And Chalobah had to dive in the halfway line. Didn't get even a sniff of the ball there. That's an absolutely brilliant opportunity for Brighton to put this game to bed. What it does is it gives Chelsea maybe a chance to bring their subs on, although they won't do it before the corner kick.
Pulisic is just going to go across to curb the option of a short corner for Brighton, who still lead by 3 goals to 1. And we've got 12 minutes remaining of normal time. So Newcastle United are 4-0 up against Aston Villa as Unai Emery waits in the wings to take over. March, corner kick for Brighton, right hand side, in it comes, off the head of Havertz. It'll be kept in play on this near side by Estupiñán on the Brighton left. Estupiñán with the cross, McAllister, it was Webster arriving, his glancing header will be collected by Gallagher, and out of play it goes, which surely has to be a Brighton throw on the right, but the assistant referee has said it's a Chelsea throw.
Well, it looked all the while like it was it wasn't a Chelsea throw there, but the assistant referee's right beside it. He's only a few yards away from it.
So here come the changes. Port Vale lead Lincoln by 1-0 elsewhere in League One. You're up to date. Ziyech and Broja to come on, and still the fourth official is trying to work out that electronic board. Pulisic is one of the changes.
The other one's Gallagher.
So there, it's Broja for Pulisic, and then the other change is
from Gallagher.
Ziyech.
Yeah.
So Ziyech and Broja are on. Ziyech only his 4th substitute appearance under Graham Potter. He's yet to start. Burton have got a goal back. Sheffield Wednesday 4, Burton 1. Hartlepool have equalised at home to Grimsby. That's 1-1. You're listening to 5 Live, and we have just over 10 minutes remaining of normal time. Still 3-1 to Brighton.
I mean, the question remains, you expected there to be a real wave after wave of attacks from Chelsea. Look, they've been the better side in the second half and they held more of the ball, but it hasn't been wave after wave, has it? They've not been hanging on with their fingertips, Brighton. They've actually defended well. They've got themselves set up in a very simple formation of a 4-2-3-1, and they've just become hard to beat.
Chelsea actually created more chances in the first half than the second. Dunk digs out the clearance, about 10 yards away from the centre circle in his own half, as Brighton play from right to left. Norwich have got a third. Norwich 3, Stoke 0. Sheffield Wednesday 4, Burton 1. In fact, news of that goal at Carrow Road from Mark Webber.
Yeah, Norwich 3, Stoke 0. A goal made off the subs bench. Núñez finding Gabriel Sara on the right to tap home. Norwich 3, Stoke 0.
Ball up towards Aubameyang. Aubameyang still battling for it, scuffed away by Lewis Dunk. They're appealing for handball there. Lamptey in his own penalty area manages to clear for Brighton. Foul though by Solly March, on Ben Chilwell. And Chelsea want to take the free kick quickly. They've taken it too quickly and not from the right position. Havertz out towards Chilwell over on that far side. Graham Potter wants a little bit more width, I sense, on this near side, the right. Kovacic can't control the ball. And Chalobah behind him gets it back from Ziyech. And now Ziyech and Loftus-Cheek provide the width to satisfy the manager's demands. But Brighton will usher them away from the penalty area. The Valley, there's been another goal, Sahel Sahi.
An equaliser for Charlton. It's 2 apiece now. The shot was spilled by Christian Walton, the Ipswich goalkeeper, and Albie Morgan was 3 yards away to equalise. Charlton 2, Ipswich 2.
Chilwell with a cross, caught by Sanchez in his penalty area.
Yeah, it took a long time for Chelsea to get that cross in there, but when you think about it, they've got Havertz in there, they've got Broja in there, and they've got Aubameyang in there as well. They have to get those crosses from wide areas in as soon as they possibly can. They've not been enough yet.
Bouncing ball, Caicedo turns into trouble. Ziyech now with Havertz towards Aubameyang. There was McAllister just doing the defensive duties in the midfield, and Ciso runs forward. Loftus-Cheek trying to get back at him. Chalobah eventually fouled by Ciso. That'll be a free kick. Let's get an update from Bournemouth. Jonathan Oberon.
Bournemouth 2, Tottenham 2, but Tottenham are really pressing to try to win this game. The game has changed after Conte made second half substitutions, 1 down, and now they've got a free kick just outside the box, central position. This could be the chance for them to get what could be a winning goal. Son and Perisic are over the ball. Perisic in particular has been a real handful since coming on the left-hand side. The wall stands tall. Perisic, Son, Travers on the line. Here it comes. Who's it going to be? It could be Perisic, left-footed, of course. Son, right-footed. It's going to be Son into the wall. Anticlimax. Still 2-2.
3-1 to Brighton. We've got about 7 minutes remaining as this is Kovacic inside the centre circle. These are the latest scores in Scotland's Scottish Premiership. Dundee United 0, Motherwell 1. Hibs 3, St Mirren 0. Loftus-Cheek fouled by Enciso. Rangers 3, Aberdeen 1, St Johnstone 1, Kilmarnock 0. Pat.
Yep, and once again Chelsea get themselves into a dangerous position to get a free kick on the right hand side. They have got plenty of scorers in there, they have got plenty of height in there, and they've got Ziyech, who was bought for this specific situation. Can he provide a decent enough ball in there that Chelsea can attack to make these last, however, 7 to 10 minutes really exciting?
Sunderland have equalised at Luton. It's 1-1 in the Championship. Coventry 1, Blackpool 2, Bolton 1, Oxford United 3. So, free kick for Chelsea, just away from the right corner of the penalty area, and we have just over 6 minutes of normal time remaining. There will be at least 4 minutes of added on time.
I'll be shocked and amazed if Ziyech tries to shoot with us.
Ziyech, left-footed, swings it in towards the far post. It was dropping off his left foot. Out of play it goes for a goal kick straight to Brentford. John Southall.
Brentford 1, Wolves 1. Chance for Wolves. Chance with Diego Costa, left of the area, inside the defender, saved by Raya at his near post. It's up for grabs this. Brentford 1, Wolves 1.
Bottom of the table, Hartlepool United might be climbing off the base of League 2 because they're now leading Grimsby Town by 2-1. The result at Sixfields earlier was Northampton 1, Newport County 1. These are the latest scores. Wimbledon 1, Harrogate 2, Barrow 3, Crewe 0, Bradford 1, Crawley 1, Colchester 1, Stevenage 1. It'll be Colchester who go to the bottom of League 2 as it stands. Doncaster lead Gillingham by a 1-0. Elsewhere, Leyton Orient, the leaders, are 1-0 up against Salford City. Mansfield 2, Swindon Town 4, Stockport 3, Sutton 0, Sutton down to 10 men. Tranmere 0, Carlisle 2, Walsall lead Rochdale by a 0. League 1 and the Championship to come here on 5 Live. The latest scores before Sports Report. Sarmiento waits to come on for Brighton. Another change to be made by Roberto De Zerbi, whose side still lead by 3-1. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, and they're working so hard now. They can smell it. They can see that clock going down now. 6 minutes to go. Obviously, Zerbi, he's on the halfway line here, and he's saying, every single player, keep working, keep going. He'll make every change he possibly can between now and the end of the game to try and get fresh legs on as well. This would be a huge 3 points for him.
Roberto De Zerbi watches Trossard thread a ball through towards Gross, and it's picked up by Edouard Mendy, and then Mendy throws it out, but time is slowly but surely ticking away.
The question is going to be asked, certainly of Graham Potter, is, and that's twice in a row he's played a back three in an unusual system in the Premier League because it worked in Salzburg. that's a different thing altogether. And it hasn't worked, and he's had to change it to a back four. And it may well be that with Thiago Silva in there, he's got to do that. But can he keep on making that decision when it's not working?
Loftus-Cheek gets the ball back from Ziyech. Loftus-Cheek with a cross. Havertz hits it. First time, left-footed, 12 yards out from goal. Couldn't keep it down. Opened up the left foot, and it was always on the rise. Goal kick. Pat.
Well done, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. And he's not really got forward very often this game from the right back position that he's held in this second half. But that time, nice little 1-2. Back to Kai Havertz. Probably the player in the Chelsea team that Chelsea fans would like more than anyone else. But he blasts it high, well over the top, straight into those Chelsea fans. Well, the Chelsea fans that remain. I would say about 40% of them have gone by now.
Yeah, they are drifting towards the exit. It's a standing ovation for Trossard. So he is replaced by Jeremy Sarmiento, the Ecuadorian international. With 3 minutes remaining, Burton have got a goal back. Sheffield Wednesday 4, Burton 2, Wycombe 1, Morecambe 1. These are the latest scores in League One. Barnsley lead Forest Green 1-0, Bolton 1, Oxford 3, Charlton 2, Ipswich 2. Charlton, remember, were 2-0 down in that game. Cheltenham 0, MK Dons 0, Derby 4, Bristol Rovers 2. Could be the end of Bristol Rovers' 8-match unbeaten run. Fleetwood 3, Accrington 0, Peterborough 1, Cambridge United 0, Port Vale lead Lincoln by a goal to 0. Portsmouth and Shrewsbury's 1-1 at Fratton Park. We've told you Sheffield Wednesday 4, Burton 2, Wycombe 1, Morecambe 1. I'll give you the championship scores in a moment, as we have 3 minutes remaining of normal time, as Loftus-Cheek, like a foul throw that from Loftus-Cheek.
Does that exist anymore? He doesn't see it given.
Picked up in that loose ball by Mount, helps it on its way to Kovacic. Chelsea now with Aubameyang. Forward ball towards Chilwell, trying to get in round the back of Tariq Lamptey, but that forward ball goes straight through to Sanchez. So these are the latest scores in the Championship. Well, the two results from the early games: Bristol City 1, Swansea City 1. Sheffield United getting their first win in 7 at West Bromwich Albion. So Carlos Corberan's first game in charge ends in defeat. West Bromwich Albion 0, Sheffield United 2. Latest scores: Burnley 1, Reading 1, Cardiff 1, Rotherham United 0, Coventry City 1, Blackpool 2. Blackpool have come from behind there. Huddersfield lead Millwall by a goal to 0. Hull City 0, Blackburn 1, Luton 1, Sunderland 1, Norwich 3, Stoke 0, Preston 1, Middlesbrough 1 in Michael Carrick's first game in charge. Wigan 0, Watford 0. There is a stoppage in play. Tariq Lamptey is down. So we'll go to Newcastle and Juliet Farrington.
Where we're 11 minutes behind you due to the lengthy stoppage at the end of the first half. It's Newcastle 4, Aston Villa 0. Newcastle up to 3rd in the Premier League as it stands there 4th. An absolute stunner from Almiron from the edge of the area, curled into the top corner. Callum Wilson's on a hat-trick. He's had a header off the bar as he goes in search of it. Newcastle 4, Aston Villa 0.
You're not missing any of the action here at the Amex, as still the treatment is being applied. We will go to Burnley, Reading in the Championship. Aaron Paul.
Burnley 1, Reading 1. Burnley huffing and puffing at this Reading door, Ian, but they just cannot break it down. Joe Lumley's just pulled off a cracking save from a shot from Anas Zaroury. A gorgeous flowing move from right to left. We watched Burnley counter. The ball squared into the middle. Zaroury hits it first time. There was Lumley equal to it. 6.5 to go. Burnley 1, Reading 1.
Barnsley 2, Forest Green 0. We're about to get back underway then after that stoppage in play. We're inside the last 60 seconds. Billy Reid is questioning with the fourth official how much added on time will there be. Brighton 3, Chelsea 1, for which will go down as a historic win for Brighton and Hove Albion, their first in the league against Chelsea. But Sarmiento is the judge to a fouled Loftus-Cheek. Free kick for Chelsea.
Well, we're in a good position here. It didn't look like a foul to me there. And had the referee not given that, they were 3-2-on-1 going towards Mendy in the goal there. But they've just got seconds to wait before they see that board being lifted up there. There was about a 2 or 3 minute stoppage there. There's been a number of other stoppages as well, so you'd expect maybe 5 or 6 minutes here.
Wimbledon have got a late equaliser at home to Harrogate, 2-2 in League 2. Wigan 0, Watford 1. Watford are ahead. João Pedro 3 minutes from time in the Championship. These are the latest scores in the Premier League. The result earlier: Leicester City 0, Manchester City 1. Bournemouth 2, Spurs 2, Brentford 1, Wolves 1, Brighton 3, Chelsea 1 here, Crystal Palace 1, Southampton 0, Newcastle United 4, Aston Villa 0. 5 minutes of added on time, which we're now into. Any sign of a winner at Bournemouth, Jonathan Overend?
5 minutes of stoppage time, we're just into it. Bournemouth 2, Tottenham 2. Tottenham have seen virtually all of the ball for the last 15 minutes. Bournemouth defending resolutely. 2-2.
Ziyech has won a corner kick for Chelsea. Late goal at Ibrox, Roddy.
To Alfredo Morelos, who just had a goal docked off for offside. He was almost exactly in the same position when he stroked home a pass from Sakala. This time it was onside. Rangers 4, Aberdeen 1.
Swindon have got a fifth at Mansfield. Mansfield 2, Swindon 5. The Brighton supporters are ready to celebrate. They lead by 3-1. We're in 5 minutes of added on time. Corner kick though to Chelsea. Mason Mount to take it. Right hand side. It's an outswinger. Headed away by Dunk. Off the chest by Kovacic. Flick forward. Caicedo is there to bring the ball clear. Referee plays the advantage. He may have been fouled. Lamptey gets it out towards March. Lamptey bursts ahead of March and he finds the marauding right back on that far side. And then out of play it goes for a throw. But it's actually gone against Brighton. It's going to be a Chelsea throw, and there has now been a late goal at Bournemouth, Jonathan.
Stoppage time goal for Tottenham, and they've come from 2-0 down to snatch this game. Bentancur has got it off the bench in the second half. Corner not properly cleared. Bentancur snapshot from close range. Bournemouth 2, Tottenham 3.
And Enciso with a drive, beaten out by the goalkeeper, comes back to Enciso. Mendy again with a save. Loose ball goes in. Pascal Gross. There's no way back now for Chelsea. Brighton and Hove Albion have got their first ever league victory over Chelsea, and De Zerbi finally delivers. 4-1 in injury time.
The way they just kept on going all the way to the end. You're talking well into injury time here, and they're doing a high press. They're putting Chelsea players under pressure there. And the one that gave it away in the end was Kovacic. Tried to play what was an impossible ball. He wasn't getting much help anyway. When he came back in, it took 2 or 3 efforts to get by Mendy, but they kept on going at it. And when Gross had his opportunity there, it got a touch off Mendy, but it goes in. It's 4-1, it's 3 points. They'll have a little look at it again before they finalise where this is going to be given, but I don't think we have much doubt here. This is 3 deserved points for Brighton and Hove Albion.
A double save from Mendy kept out Enciso, the Paraguayan international, on his Premier League debut. But Pascal Gross, who remember had popped up when Graham Potter was still the manager, and VAR's had a look at it. There was a possible offside, but Gross, who scored at Old Trafford on the opening day, has now just gone and popped up with surely the winning goal, his third of the season. And Pascal Gross to deliver 3 valuable points for Brighton and Hove Albion, who lead Chelsea by 4-1 on what has been a dramatic afternoon of football on 5 Live.
Yeah, I know, we call it a historic afternoon, certainly if you're in the south coast here. The expectations, Chelsea coming here, hadn't lost a game under Potter. I think it was a bit of fear, and of course De Zerbi hasn't won a game before this either. Everything pointed to a difficult afternoon for Brighton, but it's been an extraordinarily difficult and painful one for Chelsea.
Let's get an update from Brentford Wolves in the closing stages. John Southall.
2 minutes of normal time to play. Brentford 1, Wolves 1. Brentford pushing for the winner. Tony with a header 5 yards out. Put it wide. Enrico Henry 20-yarder saved by the legs of Sarr. Brentford 1, Wolves 1.
The cameras are trained on the two managers. Fluctuating fortunes between the two. You've got the elation for Roberto De Zerbi, and then you've got the crushing disappointment for Graham Potter. A late goal at Deepdale in the Championship.
It's gone for Preston 2, Middlesbrough 1. It's Jordan Story with a header, came from a free kick, he popped up in the right place. Preston 2, Middlesbrough 1.
Shojo Saka, thank you very much. 4-1 here, Brighton. And by my watch, we are 15 seconds away from lift-off at the Amex.
Yeah, and there will be lift-off, and the fans they've celebrated everything apart from the return of their old manager. But they were shouting there, we won 5, we won 5. They won't get the 5, but they will love, absolutely love, and talk about this game for years to come at Brighton, and they've been worthy of the win.
There is the roar, and it is a roar that signifies the final whistle, and Brighton and Hove Albion's first ever league success over Chelsea at the 15th time of asking. but more importantly for their 43-year-old manager, it means that the drought for De Zerbi is over, and Graham Potter, on his return to the Amex, loses his unbeaten run as Chelsea's manager. 4-1, it's finished. Pat?
I think we'll enjoy watching this again tonight. I mean, there's some interesting goals, lots of chances, an exciting game. But technically what happens at the start of the game will be of huge interest to anyone who's watching this. When Chelsea once again go that back three and are destroyed right at the start of the game. Against Manchester United, they got back in. Against Brighton, it never looked as if they would. Premier League's a harsh place. Graham Potter is finally finding out about that now with Chelsea.
Goals from Trossard, own goals from Loftus-Cheek and Chalobah. Brighton 3-0 up at half-time. Don't ever forget about the efforts from Sanchez in goal to keep them at bay. And then, whilst Chelsea got a goal back early in the second half, a Havertz header. Gross finishing off at the end. The celebrations are well underway. At the Amex, it's finished. Brighton and Hove Albion 4, Chelsea 1.